Hey, how are you doing? This is Sunday, December 11th. We are live, and of course, if you're watching on YouTube, timestamps will be below in the description. I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera. Oh, did they change the settings again? Oh my goodness. Hey guys, how's it going? How are you doing? Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay. Hey, White Butterfly 999, how are you doing? Good morning, baby doll. Good to see ya, as always. Hey, kindness. It's Maria. Oh, hey, Maria. Good to see ya. So 1 second. I'm trying to see if there's still a way to flip the screen. There we go. On mirror. There we go. Cool. I just prefer that personally. Even if it like throws me. Well, it doesn't really throw me off. It's just I have to. There we go. Hey, Anna So Poppin', how's it going? Oh, I need to get my signs out. Ooh. All right. Nice to see you too, Jenna Hartman. How's everybody doing today? Excuse me. Morning, Andy Pandy Pie. Good to see ya. Great to see you. How's it get any better than all of this? So, I was going to say, I might just take a second, but then my guides were like, you don't really need a second. So I'm like, okay. They're also, I don't know, maybe I'll have a bit of a slower pace with this today. Well, we'll see what I do. I have a lot written down here for the reading, so I think we'll be good on that one. So, good morning, Marina. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Cool. So as always, it is a blessing to be here. I'm honored you guys are here. I am excited for the live. Hello from Kentucky. Hey, Melissa. How's it going? So I am sending blessings your guys' way. I don't know why I want to start with this, but may the highest and best transpire for you guys. I know we're just getting started. I'm wishing you peace and all that would be for your highest good. And we're going to just start with the collective reading, of course. Right there, and they just want me to jump right in. So what we're going to be going with today, of course, the theme is like what's coming in and what else would source like to say. And so and then we're going to do a collective reading for everybody. Then we're going to do, the fire signs, earth signs, air signs, water signs, probably a full channel, and we'll see if they want me to do the guitar, the Reiki infused guitar at the end. So let's delve into the collective reading for everybody, and I hope everyone's doing great. So the first message that came through for everyone, and I feel like I used to get that. They don't like when I go into that, so I'm not going to say that. But the first thing that came through, they gave me the word uplift, and they said gentler times ahead. I know this is going to be timeless for anyone watching on YouTube, but pretty much what they said, like for the Christmas season and beyond. I'm not saying I'm not promising everything's going to be perfect forever. I think that's not always wise for me to promise. But in general, what I'm getting is or what I was getting and what I am getting are that there are certain like rougher things that are leaving, or we might even be, one message for you guys is some of you might be realizing how you've been rough on yourselves or creating roughness in your life where there need not be any is what I'm hearing. So the good news is that there's some type of uplift into gentler times ahead coming in. I feel like this is in like the next 30 days. I don't know if it'll be, for some of you, maybe it will be permanent. I don't know if it will be like permanent for all of you. It could just be like we're just in this gentler time period just of healing and uplift, which is good, and more light. And of course, this has been a message the past while, but there is just a lot more light coming into the collective. I feel like that's a theme of next year is something I'm hearing as well, which I'm filming this in 2022 for anyone watching on YouTube in the future, if anyone ends up watching it way down the road. But right now, a theme for this collective is embodying more light and becoming more light. And depending on where you're at in your journey, that's not always fun at first. That can be a bit of a purge or a lot of release. For others of you, it can just be, it's like your whole life. Not the purge and the roughness, but like that's just how you are, is like embodying light. So it's easier for you. The next message I have for you here, the road, this one was really interesting, and there's a lot kind of that mixed into this message, or these next three channel messages I have kind of all tie into each other, or like four actually. And the message was that the road, like your road, your path, is healing. So you're getting a healing to your path. This can look like an elevation. It can look like what we just talked about, like more light, less rockiness, more abundance. Leaving a certain leg of the journey behind and entering into another was a big theme as well. That's happening for a lot of people. All of you, I'm hearing as clarification. So it's going to be a lighter road, and like we said, uplift in a gentler time. The other message I was getting, like, it's going to be much easier. And maybe not for all of you right away. Sometimes people are, going through things that take a little bit of time to play out or to heal or to kick the things that are causing trouble out of, your life if there's like a tricky situation going on. But all in all, that's what you're headed towards, is the message. And it's an interesting phrase, like a healing to your path, but that's the way they're painting it and saying it for you guys as a message here. So the next message I have here, of course, our good friend Grasshopper showed up, and there was all these really interesting, I almost want to say intricate parts to this one. We'll see how, let me read this for you. But because they showed this grasshopper, but that was like about like healing the legs of the grasshopper. And it was kind of about your path as well, but they said the journey increases. They said you are meant for more. So the message is you are healing the parts of yourselves that are reluctant to go on the journey, reluctant to improve, and reluctant to take a step forward. As this occurs, the road becomes lighter ahead. So it kind of mixes in with the previous message as well. And sometimes we get nervous, we doubt ourselves, we think everything's going to blow up if we take a step forward, even though the path is clear, is something I'm hearing. And you don't need to do that, is something I'm getting. But all in all, like, we're healing the parts of ourselves, or you're healing the parts of yourselves that are making it difficult to take a step forward for some of you, if not a lot of you, is something I'm getting here. So it's kind of like it's like the collective, in this collective, it's healing ourselves where we're reluctant to go forward. We're also healing the path ahead. And sometimes those are a bit intertwined, as you might see as we continue. The next message here, they wanted to go further with the grasshopper symbolism, and they were really pointing to the grasshopper's wings. They said, don't forget you can fly. The visual I was getting was like this grasshopper, but almost like in a museum when they have all the bugs pinned up in like the frames. It wasn't quite like that, but they showed a grasshopper almost more like a diagram with its wings spread out. And then they were highlighting the wings, and they just said, don't forget you can manifest. Don't forget you have other tools available to help you. And they gave a bunch of different things you might consider working with, whether it's Reiki, or if you're someone, well, I don't know if a lot of you do access consciousness, but that, or any other tool that you work with. You're not stuck is something else they said with that. Don't pardon my hand movements. So in some ways it's kind of just a reminder. It's like a reminder to go beyond the normal and be like, it's like, with all the tools I have, what can I do about this? And then like, if there's something going on, try to tackle it from every angle. 'Cause you don't have to stay stuck in linear thinking, or, the words I'm hearing are thinking of just the 3D ways of dealing with things. I don't even like that phrase, but that's the words they're giving me for you. So you don't have to stay stuck with just the 3D ways of dealing with things. You can go beyond and change things etherically, and everything will change, is a way they're phrasing it. So don't forget your tools, or everything at your disposal. You're not meant to just be a 3D person here, bumping into walls and things of other people's creation that are in your way all of the time. You're meant to kind of go beyond that and create the new through your tools, through what you have available to you. So just a reminder, you can fly, I suppose you could say. And there might be other ways you're taking that message that apply to you that aren't So that's fine too, is something I'd say. 'Cause the first thing they said was, don't forget you can fly. There's also just other tools available to you coming in from the universe that aren't even available to humanity yet, is something I'm getting, interestingly enough, like new healing modalities, new ways of going about things. And I think what's the best way to say this? One of the dangers people can fall into, I don't want to call it an actual danger, but you'll see what I'm saying, is thinking they have it all figured out when there's so much more. And for example, the example that's popping into my head is like, what's the best way to say this? Think of Reiki, for instance. And personally, Reiki has been a big part of my path. I love Reiki. At the same time, if you look at all the people who do Reiki or teach Reiki, and if you're one of those people, this might not be you. I'm not trying to call anyone out or anything like that. But sometimes there's people who call themselves a Reiki master, like, oh, I'm a Reiki master. Oh, I'm a Reiki master. But then like they turn around and they're just like awful to people, or, they're like really judgmental, and there's still things they're working through, and that's fine. At the same time, if Reiki really had it all figured out, don't you think those people would be more healed all of the time? Is kind of what I'm trying to say. And so it's like, maybe there's something in addition to Reiki that could help people more, or that's further more tools, other modalities, something that could be greater that really helps those people. And I think sometimes I don't know, that's just something I've observed, and I don't know if that was the perfect example for me to use. I'm getting it was good, so at least it was good, but hopefully that makes sense. I feel a little bit weird energetically, so hopefully I didn't annoy anyone too much with that one. But we're going to go to the next message here, which is anything else I need to say on that before we move on? I covered it. So for some reason, cricket and grasshopper show up together a lot when I'm doing readings. And when one of them shows up, not always, but cricket is showing up as well. It's just kind of I don't know why I'm getting this visual of like a cricket in someone's house, like on a wooden floor, like scurrying under a closet door, or like hiding under clothes or something. It's about good luck is what I'm getting first and foremost. It's about the wheel turning in your favor. If you were to think of the Wheel of Fortune tarot card, but I'm also getting like you might have to be patient, some of you, so keep that in mind. Not all of you. It's just a message of good luck is what I'm getting, actually. I'm also getting this message that there's a big clearing going on in the space around each of you. And it's going to be different for each of you as well. And it's more like the universe is doing it, like maybe even through the things around you. It might be you. It might be the universe working through you to clear the space around you, but it might even be the universe working through everything else around you to clear the space around you. They're just kind of saying like be patient with things around you, because like there's a lot clearing right now regarding that. And it could literally be your physical space. It could be the people around you. It could be a job situation. It could be all of it and everything, honestly. But there's just a big clearing happening right now is something I'm getting in it. It takes time. It's not always like a one and done overnight thing. Sometimes it's a perpetual clearing over the next month or two while the universe just kind of tidies things up for your next path is the way they're painting the picture. It's the way they're saying it. Next message here. So this ties into some of the previous messages, even though I went on some I don't know if you want to call them tangents. My gosh, excuse me. But I feel like the tangents were related. So they showed me a rainbow. It was about like a path upgrade. So part of the message is that your paths are evolving and upgrading. You know, like we said, path healing, the road healing, your legs, not your literal legs, maybe some of your literal legs, but your legs healing so that you're more willing to go on the journey. Hesitation leaving, perhaps, for some of you, or all of you. They're clarifying. But your paths are evolving and upgrading, so I feel like you'll be seeing this in January if you're watching this live, or before January, or maybe even during January. If not, next couple months is what I'd say. Like your path will be more upgraded. I feel like you'll be feeling better about it as well. I think sometimes we can doubt our paths or think certain things are never going to happen, but then all of a sudden they do. So don't doubt miracles can happen is another message coming in right now. Give me 1 second. Okay, so next message here. Thank you for bearing with me there. Sometimes I just need to like set an intention or something. So there was a next message regarding that as well, that people are being led to their next phases. So there's a lot upgrading, and there was a message I was getting for this month that it is like an upgrade month. They didn't really want me to get into that, so maybe I'll get into that later. But just know there's a lot upgrading right now. The next thing they showed me, we're going to skip that one. They want me to skip it. There was this quick message of like old rules are leaving, old ways of being, old ways of doing things. So there might be things that used to hold you back that just aren't there anymore. And you almost need to like double check it. And what does that mean? It might be like someone, they're showing me this example of someone who has it in their head that their trauma is holding them back. And like in their head, they're like, oh, my trauma is holding me back. Oh, my trauma is holding me back. But it's in like when they like actually sit with it and check, they're like, my trauma, oh, it's gone. It's kind of like what they're showing me. Or it's like, oh, it's not holding me back anymore. Or, oh, it doesn't have a grip on me anymore. Maybe like some of it's still there, but they're like healing it. Or maybe it's completely gone. But it's kind of like someone who doesn't realize they've healed and they think there's still an issue. But the only issue is they're creating an issue by thinking they're not healed. And I'm not saying if you've had a lot of trauma that that's you and you're making it up or anything like that. I think it does take some discernment to sit with yourself and be like, okay, where am I really at with this? But it's just kind of a weird message of like, if you thought something was holding you back for a while or like a while back, maybe it's not anymore. Like maybe it's a good idea to double check some of those things. There's also just a message like the way the world is working is changing like energetically. I feel like it's going to be a lot better. I feel like it's going to be favoring people who are, to use the word light workers is the word that comes to me, but you know, people who are actually doing that work, I suppose you could say, or people who are in tune, or people who are more magical. And you're all magical, by the way. Don't think you're not magical or try not to get into comparison, I would say. I feel like everyone's magical. They just have to bring it out or uncover it. And maybe some of you are magical in different ways, and that's okay than others. So you don't need to freak out about that is something I'm getting as well. But that's just something that's coming through as well. So I just feel like there's going to be less holding light workers back in the years ahead, like in the next decade, even is something I'm getting. I just feel like in the next 20 years, a lot is shifting regarding that. It's just like where people were more where people who were more magical were held back. That's not going to be a thing anymore. It's going to be like they have the easy time. It's just what I'm hearing right now. So I'll roll with that. Next message here. A lot of healing is coming in and release, purging even for some. And that might have been obvious already, but that's just another message they had for you guys as far as like what is going on. And what Source wants to say there. So anything else that would be for that's good for me to bring in? I feel like there's more with Grasshopper because they're showing me Grasshopper again. And that's just been a really popular symbol they've been using the past month or two, I want to say, for whatever reason. But what else is going on here? So they're showing the grasshopper like destroying a farmer's crops. So what's the message? I feel like some of you are worried about losing an abundance or maybe even a manifestation or something, but you're not going to. The words I'm getting are God is protecting it. It's like this, I know Grasshopper, we're flipping it from it being a positive message to a very different message from that, but just bear with me. Because they're showing this grasshopper going to eat the crops, and then God puts his hand down. He's like, nope, you're not eating the crops. So I feel like a lot of you are like afraid of missing out on something. And again, I feel like this other part of the message could be a manifestation. I really don't feel like you're going to. I feel like a lot is conspiring to get you to your abundance and manifestation, but it just might require some patience for some of you is what I'm getting. And you know what? The other message I'm getting is God has a plan, and sometimes we can't go against it, really. And it's a really interesting conversation, and I'm not trying to say you don't have free will, but the message that's coming through now and the way it is like, yes, you have free will, but sometimes something is just supposed to happen, and like you can't avoid it. Like sometimes it can be a bit of a mixture, I'd say, and it's like, yeah, we have free will, but at the same time, God, source, spirit, whatever you want to call it, is everything. And can we really go against that? It's like, it is you too. So it's like, yes, you have free will, but sometimes it's like, do we? So it's like something I'm hearing, and I'm not trying to, again, take that away from you. It's just the way they're painting the picture for you, I suppose, or just something to consider. It's like sometimes when spirit, source, God has a plan, it's going to happen. And there's nothing stopping it. So I feel like you're also part of that plan for you, is something I'm getting. So I do, part of this message is that there are destined things coming in that you can't avoid, but I feel like it's a good thing, because I feel like it is about like a manifestation or abundance and like God's plan for you, I suppose, and how you're going to help the world. So don't think people can just take that away from you with their like free will, is something I'm getting. Because there's more at play than just everybody's will, if that makes sense. It's not just, well, what's the message here? It's not just a collection of everyone's will that's creating reality. There's a lot more at play. And what's the best way to say this? Because I feel like words are interesting to utilize with these messages, because it's like, if I could just give you the energy and the knowing of what's coming through, and some of you get that, and sometimes with channeling that does just happen, if not a lot of the time or all the time, but depending on who's listening. But it's like the words might seem like they conflict with other words that I or other people might say, but it's like the meaning doesn't conflict with it, if that makes sense. And so what I'm trying to get across here is it's like sometimes humans think they are the center of everything, but they're not, if that makes sense. And sometimes they think they create everything, and in some ways they do. And I don't want to take any of your power or anything away from you, but it's like sometimes there's more at play, and we don't need to beat up on ourselves all the time, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like, sometimes there is and there isn't more at play than just you. I don't know how to get this across properly, but hopefully it's making sense, or it's helpful to hear. And again, not trying to take your power away or your creative power away or anything like that. I'm just trying to say God has a plan. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm going to close a collective reading there. I feel like I'm like, I don't know. They just told me to close it, so we're going to close it there. But we're going to move to the fire signs next. Excuse my weird noises. I'm going to take a water break and say hi to you guys. Oh, I just like dunked my hand in the mug here because it's behind my computer. Makes sense. Perfect. How's it get better than that? Even better than that. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, first of all, I want to say thank you to Rock and Robin and any other moderators that are here that I haven't seen in the chat. I just want to give a shout out to you guys and say thank you. And just want to say to everyone else, I hope you're doing great. You guys, thanks for being here. You guys rock. I am starting to hit that. Whew. Channel mode energy or something. I mean, I've already been in that the whole time, but I don't know what I'm trying to say. Don't worry about me. I just need to keep going here. All right, fire signs fully flashed. Good. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so fire signs, sun, moon, or rising. Thank you for being amazingly you. Thank you, Angina. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope you had a good week too, Jenna Isles. Thank you. I did. I did have a pretty good week. Um, okay, fire signs. So, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, this is for you when you see it. If not, and you're here now, it's for you now. So, what is coming? So, there's kind of two questions that we're answering. What's coming in? Well, and whatever else would be high semester to come through. Um, what's coming in and what would source like to say as far as like, and those might kind of jumble together and become one reading. So so the first thing that's coming in for you guys, upgrade. This is like an upgrade month for everybody, but I feel like you'll be feeling it especially strongly, especially regarding your gifts, like spiritual gifts and abilities. Excuse me again, if you're not one of those people who works with those frequently, because if you're someone who does, that's what's happening. If you're not someone who works with those things frequently, it's like an upgrade to some sort of ability that you do work with. Like, I don't know why they're giving me this example, but if you play lacrosse, it's like your lacrosse skills upgrade, and all of a sudden you can like throw and catch the ball better or whatever. Weird example, but it's fine. That's the one they're showing me. And that's kind of the first message about like what's coming in and like what you're going through. There might be a bit of like a release or a purge before this grounds in fully. For others of you, this is already grounded in and you're already thankful for it. I feel like it's going to upgrade more, perhaps because of the gratitude, or it's something I'm getting, which is interesting, but keep that in mind. The next message is about an intuition boost, and this might even be for everyone here, because they're saying like this is for everyone here, but of course it's especially strong if you're a fire sign, sun, moon, or rising. So with intuition boost here, it's really it should be pretty self-explanatory. It's like for the highest good, a permanent boost to your intuition, or it's like your gifts hit the next level. I feel like everyone's becoming more intuitive, but it's happening really quickly for you guys and really strongly. And it's almost like becoming a part of who you are, or it's like a part of who you are. I feel like you're going to be feeling really good about it, which is good. And another message I'm getting for you guys is like, intuition is real. And part of your mission, for at least some of you, is to help show people that it's real, and show people intuition is real. And it's like the more you do that, the better things get. And you don't have to show off like a dude in a midlife crisis trying to show off a red Corvette or anything like that. But like as the opportunity arises, as spirit guides you to, it's like display your intuition, work with it for people for the highest good. And it might be through you doing readings like this, or through settings that are very set up for you to work with your intuition, like healing sessions. But the more you're working with your intuition to help people, the better, is something I'd say for most of you, whether it's on the side or it's your main gig, or it's just something you do in conversation for friends. It doesn't matter how big or small it seems. Just helping one person is helping the world, is something I'm hearing on that one. But that's just part of your mission for some of you, interestingly enough. The next message here, another thing that's coming in is help from a lot of people. Like a lot of people are going to be stepping up to help you in some way. It could even be financially for some of you. For others, it's like, it could even just be as simple as help around the house. For others yet, it's just in some big unforeseen way. And yeah, I was kind of thinking like, oh, maybe it's like Christmas is around the corner. Like people will be getting help from like gifts for Christmas, but then they were like, no, it's not that. So as far as when this is happening, I'd say next 3 months is what I'm getting. Like 6 months out at the furthest regarding this message, but for some way, shape, or form, you're going to be getting help from a lot of people in a positive way. Next message here, they show me peppermint, which is kind of Christmas themed a little bit, but there was just a quick message that I feel like this has been coming in for you, or I feel like this has been a message coming in more. Like there's more fun coming in for you, a lot more enjoyment of life. I could have sworn that came in for you last week, but I also do a lot of these channeled timeless readings like this, and sometimes they don't really blend together, but in my memory, sometimes I don't remember what messages came through where. So that's good. Next message here, some rest and recovery and a much better time. So there was also like joy. Like if you are open to joy, joy will find you. I feel like I just like wrote down a bunch of like positive frequencies. I mean, I didn't write it down. I channeled it down, but it was kind of getting to this point where I'm like, okay, I guess it's just all these positive frequencies or some of these things coming in for you right now. But it's like joy if you're open to joy, some rest and recovery, a much better time. So that's kind of what was coming through for that phase of the reading. There is more, but we're gonna move to like I feel like we're gonna. Well, what else would be for that? It's good for me to bring through right now. We'll just move to the next phase of the reading. So what else would Source like to say? And they will probably mix in more of what's coming in as I go through this. But the next thing I had channeled down for you is big ramp up to better. So you are headed towards something way better, even if you don't see it yet. They gave me a whole visual while I was channeling this message down. Like they showed you on the back of this like white, it was almost like an ice dragon or something, but on the back of this white dragon flying, and you were heading towards these like clouds, and these like two clouds together that were kind of just obscuring your vision. You're kind of like, what's up ahead? I'm not sure. I think it's good. I'm not sure. And these clouds part as you fly through them. And one thing that shows up is these clouds part and you get to this next phase, I want to say. Rewards show up and also like a new path in the sky. So it was almost like this cobblestone, like magical pathway that was just floating in the sky that this dragon was flying you towards. And so give me 1 second to find where I was. So rewards show up, new path in the sky that you're ready to walk. And also it's like something you've been preparing for. The message that came through, you've been preparing for this your whole life. Sometimes we're like, there's something we're destined for or meant for, and it just hasn't shown up yet. And I think sometimes, especially if you're younger, like in your 20s or maybe even like your early 30s, you're like, yep, everything has shown up and life is great or something like that. But then there's just this whole curveball, and not a bad curveball necessarily or at all, but this whole other thing you're destined for that you're like, whoa, like the curtains pull back and it's just something else entirely. Or it's just a furtherance of what you're already doing for those of you who are like, no, I'm on my path. Could just be an improvement to that, but that's kind of what I was getting with this message, was this new path, something that maybe you've been preparing for your whole life, which is interesting. There's also this message, and this was like a big message for a lot of people, of like these like cycle closing out. I was going to say it makes sense because we're kind of at the end of the year and heading into a new year. I feel like it's actually bigger than that for everybody. I feel like it's going to hit people differently in big and small ways. So it'll be different for everyone, but I do feel like you are headed towards this new cycle and this jump into it next year is what I want to say. And if you're watching this on YouTube and it's already 2023, it might still be next year. It just might be 2024 that it happens. But if you're here now, it's for you now. So next year. Next message here. They show me fire. It was kind of like playing off of the fire-breathing dragon. I know I said ice dragon, but this dragon breathed fire. And there was just a quick message of like obstacle destruction. And there's a message that you don't realize how potent you've become. Many of you think you are like, some of you think you're like chained, but you're not. You can actually move forward. So for some of you, your potency is ramping up. But I feel like there were like 3 different messages in this, so I need to take a second and sit with it. There are a lot of obstacles being destroyed. I feel like you might be the one destroying them. And I feel like before these obstacles were or seemed indestructible, but it's now you can like bust through them like nobody's business. So I feel like you're gonna have a much easier time moving forward, which is great. The other message, I don't know if it's a caveat, but the other side of this, it seems, they showed me a snail next and they were like, if you find yourself rushing in anything, slow down. It's not worth rushing whatever it is. And they gave the quote that they give so frequently: Rome was not built in a day, don't rush. So I feel like this is about business or like work. It could be a relationship or anything you're rushing or tempted to rush. I feel like if you're rushing, it's not worth it. And you might have to like restart is something I'm getting. So take things at their pace is the message I'm getting, and things will be successful if you do that. And sometimes like we have a deadline we need to meet and we need to like sprint to like finish something in time. That's not what they're talking about. It's a little bit different. So if you have an option to not rush, try to take things at the right pace. Next message, owl. Owl is, so this owl was like just kind of like chilling in a tree branch. He was like asleep in this visual. And the message is like, this owl is just, it's not a great horned owl, by the way. It was like a barn owl or something. This owl doesn't need to worry. I don't feel like I got the whole message yet on the owl, so I want to sit with it for a second and see what comes through for you guys regarding this owl. Fully focused, good to hear. So every so often, I feel like this came through recently in one of the readings I did, they'll kind of show like a bird or an animal, and it will have like a gift for the person receiving the reading. And this owl is, I feel like this just happened in a different reading, but plucking one of its feathers off of its like wing and like giving it to you. And then he's kind of like, good luck, and like kind of sends you on your way. And like one thing I'm hearing is like the gift of not having to worry. I feel like that's something you're receiving. Oh, well, that makes total sense with what I just read, but that's what they're bringing through to clarify it further. I feel like you're going to be not worrying so much or at all. The other word that I got with owl was the word knowing. I feel like you will be knowing, which makes sense with the intuition boost and upgrade that they talked about. So the next message that they want me to get to, they showed me a slug, and it's interesting that snail and slug showed up together. This was a really interesting message, and not all of you should really take this literally, and I mean this. I'll just read what came through, and I'm gonna clarify the heck out of it, because it's I don't feel like this is really about looks for you. I feel like this is about perhaps things around you, but they just said you are transforming out of an ugly phase, and like a phase where things look ugly, or you're going through something ugly, or you're worried about ugliness or something ugly, etc. And it could be things around you. I'm not trying to call you ugly at all. I just, the clarification I hear is like, all of you are beautiful souls, and I just feel like judging yourself out of ugliness, or a judgment of ugliness, is not always a great thing or a good thing. This is meant to be more about things around you regarding this message, so keep that in mind. The other thing I'm hearing here, and I feel like I want to balance this message with other things, is like, sometimes when things get ugly, you are transforming. And I'm going to use that all too common metaphor of the caterpillar dissolving into goo and wrapping itself in the cocoon and quote unquote getting ugly, I suppose. And I'm not saying you have to get ugly to transform. I'm also not saying things actually have to get ugly to transform, because I don't think we always need to pigeonhole things and having to be or work a certain way in our minds. And then we don't need to create things having to be ugly to transform or anything like that. But you might be coming out of a transformation where things got ugly. It's going to be different for each of you. Hope that all makes sense. And I'm not trying to offend any of you guys or, anything like that. So what else would be highest? How much we're going to get to? We're going to pull a card here. We have the Hierophant coming out here. And has the words intuitive guidance at the bottom. And what did we just talk about with the intuition boost here? I'm getting the words you're more for the highest good. It's connected to source, but connected than ever. I'm also getting this message for you that the road is being paved with light as I look at this card. I know that's not the typical meaning of the Hierophant, but that's just the channel message I'm getting as I'm sitting with this card for you guys. What you don't realize is your road ahead is going to be way more light filled. And a lot of the preparation you've been going through recently has been preparing you to be more light filled, to bring in more light, to walk a path of light. And that's what you're meant for, is a path of light. I know the Hierophant can be like a card of like tradition or like, traditional structures or things like that. That's not what this message is about. This is more about you being connected to source and channeling through more lights, being more lights, walking more lights is what I'm getting first and foremost. It's also I'm getting the word initiation. I think the Hierophant can be about initiation sometimes. Like there's 3 levels. Not in this card. It's just a blob. It's not really. It's abstract art. But in the traditional Hierophant, he's like 3 levels to him, like his staff and on his whatever he's wearing, I think. So it's almost like some of you, if not all of you, have like graduated from something, is something I'm getting, or past an initiation, or you're going through one that leads to what this message has been about, more light and things like that, being more intuitive. I'm also getting a message like, I know we got all these messages about like heading towards a new road, but I also hear the words like you're on a new road, some of you already, or maybe you're on the new road that transforms into the upgraded road we were talking about. I would just stay on the path is something I'm getting regarding that. For any of you who do healing work, I'm hearing the words keep doing healing work. You need to, like, you're meant for it. Don't quit is something I'm getting. I'm also getting this message like this could just be for some of you, like when all seems lost, everything that could be like when everything turns around, like right after that. That's not for all of you. I feel like some of you are in that phase, and that's just something you potentially need to hear. Is and that did come through in regards to healing work, so that could be regarding some of you regarding either a business or healing work or something like that. I'm also hearing another message for whoever this is resonating for. That's, oh, I lost it. Can I get that again, please? I was also getting this message. It was along the lines of, well, I'll see if they bring it back. Give me one more second to sit with my spirit guides and see if they want to reiterate the message here. It was something along the lines of, so maybe I need to walk back on that resonating thing and just see if they'll give it to me again. It was something along the lines of, I forgot it. Sorry, guys. Maybe they'll bring it through again. So Emperor popping out again. I do shuffle this deck, so I feel like this one's been popping out a lot, though. I'm getting the message of stability. I would also like, it's about leadership as well. I would venture towards leadership and being a leader and not a follower. It's going to be more successful for you. That could be starting your own business instead of doing a job, or it could be stepping up into a management position in a job. It could be running a company or a business or something for someone else. It could even just be doing your own thing on the side in addition to whatever you do for work is something I'm getting. So keep that in mind. But it's kind of like you're all stepping into this energy in a positive way. I know there can be, as I don't even always like the words positive or negative, but it's maybe the way I can describe it right now. There can be positive or negative aspects to any of these cards, but I feel like you're stepping into this and the Emperor energy in a positive way. Or in a way the Emperor archetype could refer to, even if it's not an exact match, if that makes sense. They always want me to talk about this card having like a rose on it as well. I know this is not a traditional Emperor card, but this abstract art, this always jumps out to me. It looks like a rose, and then they want me to talk about it. And as far as what they're talking about here, as far as the rose, what they're showing me for you is it's almost like you're shaving the thorns off of life. It is possible to have the rose without the thorns. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of work. I feel like you have been putting that work in. It's kind of like you've been shaping your life to be more of how you want it to be or desire it to be, and not just like taking it if there's thorns. So in some ways, it's almost like the words I'm hearing are taking control of your destiny and shaping things a bit more. And that's exactly what you should be doing, is something I'm hearing with all of that. So let's close this reading. They want a card from the Golden Tarot deck that I have here, Golden Black Tarot. Hanged Man showing up here. They want me to reverse it, actually, because they're showing it like, well, they're saying reverse, and then I don't know how to describe how I work to you guys. I'm just going to work how I work and deliver the messages. But they want it to be upside down. I do feel like for you, like this dude needs to untie himself from Hanged Man mode, where he kind of tied himself upside down on the tree or took a step back to get clarity on something or something like that. I feel like he needs to like untie himself and move forward. He doesn't need to sit around. I feel like he needs to move. And that's something I would say for you as well, fire signs. The other thing that's jumping out at me, not the traditional meaning at all, but for a second in my intuitive visuals, these looked like grapes, and they gave me the word grapes. The word I'm getting with that is abundance, and I'm just getting like taking action leads to abundance. So I would not be like waiting around right now, which I already said to you. I believe I would be taking action. So I'm going to close it there and pull the sign down. I hope that was helpful and made sense, fire signs, and did everything that was for the highest good for it to do. And I'm wishing you the best for you. And of course, may the highest and best to transpire for you. We're going to move on to the earth signs next after I drink water. Ooh, that was awesome. You're welcome. Okay, so we're going to do earth signs, then we'll be doing air signs, then water signs, and then probably full channel mode message. Yes, full channel mode message, but sometimes I like to, well, we'll just delve into the reading. So, earth signs, sun, moon, and rising. You want me to drink? Earth signs, sun, moon, and rising. So, if you have an earth sign, sun, moon, or rising, it's for you. It's for you. And I do repost these on YouTube, so if you're watching on YouTube, it's for you whenever you see it. But of course, if you're here live, it's for you now. So, for the earth signs, there's two questions we're answering that could just potentially mix into one reading, which is what is coming in and what else would source like to say for you. And then, of course, just what else would be highest and best to come through, or what else would help you out. So the first message that came through for you, give me 1 second here. Upgrade to your being. So there are a lot of upgrade messages this week. Again, I feel like last week had a lot of upgrade messages too. And I do feel like December is, the message I got on December was that it's an upgrade month. There's a channeled newsletter I have through my website, and I just send it out on the first of every month. And that was the main title they gave the month, my spirit guides, was upgrade month for everybody. At least everyone that was signed up for the newsletter. But I feel like what they're clarifying is like, well, it's for everyone in general. So you too. But there's a lot of upgrading inside of you, and a lot of things like you didn't realize could upgrade, such as like, the example they gave for that was like such as thought processes and things like that. The way they're clarifying this further is sometimes we think there's things that are just supposed to stay the same way our whole lives, but they're actually not. It's almost like anything can upgrade. Excuse me, if you think about it, is what I'm hearing. So you're going to be upgrading a lot, but especially like internally, or like even your internal world and your experience of life through that is going to be upgraded. And that's going to lead to a higher quality of living for you, because that can determine a lot of how you experience your life. If you think about it, I don't know why they keep giving me the phrase, if you think about it, while I'm channeling this through. Because that's almost, you could say that's what you experience everything or a lot of things through. Like they're giving me this phrase like internal lenses. I do feel like you can get in tune. I don't want to limit you and just feel things as they are energetically and things like that. However, your internal world is very important for your quality of living. And I feel like you have been looking after that, or a lot of you, or some of you have been looking after that. And I feel like if you have been, that's going to pay off, or if you start, that's going to pay off. But the message is that's upgrading first and foremost. So that's good. They're showing me grapevines as well. What's the message here with the grapevines here? They're kind of wanting me to take a meaning from it that I heard someone else utilize. I wasn't supposed to say that, sorry. But what would be for that? It's good for me to say here. It can be about growing something difficult, because, grapes and grapevines, for like wine and like vineyards and stuff, can just take a very particular climate that can be difficult to grow. And it's almost like something is growing in your life that's difficult to grow for most of you. And I feel like that's going to pay off too if you've been doing anything like that. Like it could be a business or a relationship that's difficult to work with, or they are showing me, this kind of came through in the collective reading, but like leaving rocky terrain behind and moving to something smoother as well, or growing something out of rocky terrain that's difficult to grow is something I'm getting. like abundance. This is a really weird message. I hope this is showing up in a way that makes sense to you, the way I'm saying this, because it feels weird to me, the way it's coming through. It feels different than how the fire sign messages were coming through, which makes sense because you're potentially different people. Listen, I'm sure some of you have fire and earth placements, but what else is the message? What else would be highest much for me to bring through for you here? I just feel like there are going to be things that are difficult to grow that are going to be sprouting in your life. You're going to be very grateful. That could be any number of things: relationship, business, abundance, or maybe something rare happening as well. Next message I have for you here. It showed me a lizard, and like you know how lizards can lose their tails, when they're trying to escape a predator or something like that. Some lizards, maybe not all, they just said you are escaping from something that's really been pulling you back. And it could be trauma, it could be a person or people or a job situation or other things. But the message is you're going to be escaping something or are escaping something that's really been pulling you back, which is good. I feel like it's for good as well. It's like in a good way, for the highest good, a permanent escape, which is great. Next message here. Is there more with that message though before we move forward here? I feel like you've probably been trying to escape from it for a while or get out of it for a while. I feel like you finally are. And if you aren't doing it like right now, it could just be, if you're watching this in 2022, next year, otherwise next couple months, again, 6 months at the latest is what I'm getting for this message. So maybe not all the messages, but this one in particular. Next message here, there was like a weird message, like there is no, I want to sit with this one for a second before I spout this off. I'll just say it. For anyone who needs to hear it, it's almost like this message of like, there is no darkness. Darkness is illusory. Don't worry about darkness. You are okay. I think sometimes the way they're clarifying this is we're sold the story that darkness is powerful and evil needs to be I don't even like the word evil. First of all, I feel like that's a weird judgment that's more based on religion than like fact. And it's like, who's to say what is evil? It's like it's a weird word if you really think about it. Because it's like, okay, I don't want to get in a tangent that I don't need to get on, because they're like, no, I started to go down a road they didn't want me to go down. But coming back to what they were originally saying here, they were kind of giving this message of like, darkness really doesn't have any power over you. And if it does, the only power it has over you is fear. But that's not really a real power over you either, because you can heal that or step out of that. There are certain teachings that talk about fear not even existing. Like fear is a lie or fear is an illusion. And it kind of makes sense, because in some ways it is just like cortisol and adrenaline pumping through our system that was supposed to just save us from predators back in the day, right? So it kind of doesn't exist, but I know people have different frameworks around that. Where am I going with this? Where are they going with this is the more important question. What would be highest much for me to bring through to help clarify this and help you out with this message? I just feel like some of you fear darkness. You don't need to, and you're going to be shown that, and step out of the fear regarding darker things. Maybe you were sold by people who came from dark places or had a lot of fear-based beliefs themselves. I feel like the best thing you can do for some of you is like unbuy fear-based beliefs that either people in spiritual communities tried to sell you or spiritual teachers talked about in like YouTube videos from, even if it was years ago, or from people at metaphysical shops that were talking about fear all the time and just kind of like injected it. They're showing it like being injected into your aura by someone's like words or like fear-based beliefs, or they wanted you to be afraid so that they would feel validated or something like that. Not all of you that's not going to be the exact story for all of you, but I just feel like sometimes fear is sold where it doesn't need to be, like in the spiritual community is something they're clarifying. And there's no power darkness has over you. Sorry, I got the words mixed up. So let's move on before I beat that horse to death, or beat the dead. Sorry, I don't like that phrase even. Beat a dead horse. I don't want to beat horses to death. I don't want to beat a dead horse. I don't want to do any of that. I just want the horses to thrive and have a good life on a farm somewhere, grazing in the grass and enjoying stuff. Next message here, light. They just said, do something with the light every day. Play with the light. Ask the light to flow through you. Do something light-filled every day. It will uplift your path. So what does this mean about do something with the light every day? It reminds me of what should I go to next? So it could be some type of mantra that has to do with the lights. There's one from Lee Harris, who's a channeler, and he talked about this. I remember this being in 2019, and that was a rough year for me, so I remember some of these things vividly. But it was this message of like, I invite the light into my life. It was something he was recommending, where just like bringing the light into your life that way. Like, I invite the light into my life. It could be something like Reiki or energy work, where you're working with something light filled or that has to do with the lights. It could be like, Source, please bring light into my life, or Source, infuse me with lights, or I ask the light to flow through me, or something like that. Playing with the light could also be like working with intuition in a way that's for the highest good. It could be working on your channeling. It could be working on your energy healing and just practicing those things and asking Source to work through you as you help others, or asking Source to work through you throughout your day to help people for the highest good, of course. Those are all ways to, in some way, invite the light in or play with the light. And even like just doing readings for people could be playing with the light if you're coming from the right place, for that is something I'm getting. So I would consider that. I would invite the light into everything you're doing. We're also just, the message I'm getting is like, this is a time of the light that we're heading into and that we've been in. And some of the darkness you have been seeing, as a reminder, is just the light expelling that darkness for good. And sometimes darkness is just something that we're holding on to that needs to be released, or something that's maybe was trapped under the surface. This is more of humanity, not necessarily like you personally, but trapped under the surface of us. And it's time to kind of like release that so the light's breaking through. But I'm getting this weird message, like, it's not really weird. I'm getting this message like the light is becoming all. It's infusing itself with everything, and it's changing the way the world works through all of that. So everything's just becoming more light-filled, is something I'd say. And that might be why this message is showing up, to help you infuse yourself with it and just to help bring more light to your path. I feel like you'll be enjoying life more naturally with that as well. And sometimes we have stories of darkness we need to let go of. They're giving me this example of someone who's just saying these things like, oh, my life is dark, or I've been through dark trauma, or I have dark history. And it's kind of just time to let the light in on that and kind of pull back the curtains, if that makes sense. And maybe a weird exercise, why am I calling things weird? Maybe an exercise you could do would be like inviting the light to flow to your past, or Source, shine the light on my past. Please infuse my past with lights, and healing the past in that way. That sounds like it could be a channel guided meditation or something, or a guided meditation. And they're like, hint. I feel like that's both for me and you. So I don't know if you do channel or if you do guided meditations, but it's an idea, I guess. And maybe that's the one that they'll have me do here in the future. But I feel like I'm on this whole story about lights, and which is good. I like light. Anything else that you feel like I can bring through about that, or anything else here? We're moving on. The dragonfly has been showing up a lot recently. He's showing up really quickly here. They're showing this dragonfly is very vibrant. It's like an electric blue dragonfly, and he's kind of landing and he's just saying like, stay bright. I feel like he's also here supporting, like that spirit animal is here supporting the reading. I feel like it's about evolution. It's also about you realizing you can go further, and you're not stuck how you are. No matter how long things have been the same way, is what I'm hearing. So that's it with dragonfly. He's kind of just hanging out and helping the dragonfly spirit animal, hanging out, helping the reading for the highest good. Next message here. There was just a quick message that the universe is smiling on you. And then they also said the word, for the highest good received, there are blessings coming. So I feel like Source is smiling on you, or will soon. Especially if you're doing your best to live in the light and help others. You've been doing better than you realize, and Source is going to help you out, is something I'm getting there. Especially anywhere you feel stuck. Next message, earth element. They just said grounding after healing. Get grounded often. It will improve things for you. Have a method of grounding that is simple and easy, and utilize it often whenever you need. Every day would be good. it will just help balance things out. You don't need to go crazy, just every so often. So it's just a reminder to ground every day and work with grounding more for those of you, especially if you do spiritual work or healing of any variety, or you've been going through a lot of healing. Grounding is going to help balance everything out, is something I'm getting. Also, the earth wants to help you, and you need to get in contact with the earth, even if it's, I don't know if need is a strong word, but what I was hearing is you need to get in contact with the earth so it can help you, like even if it's just energetically, or you're just meditating with the earth or talking to the earth or looking out the window and putting your awareness on the earth and connecting with it that way. There is a meditation they're reminding me of, and this is from like way early in my, I guess you could say, spiritual journey, or where I was more like really getting into this stuff, like summer of 2017. And it was a, I don't know, maybe I just won't make a comment on it, but it was like a Drunvalo Melchizedek meditation. I don't know how I feel about everything he says, but then again, I haven't super delved far into his work to like really check in on it. So, but there was this meditation where it's like you kind of get in a meditative state, you put your awareness on the earth, you get in tune with the earth's heartbeat, I think, or maybe that was someone else who said that. All my those early times are kind of blending together because certain people would say similar things, but just send your love to the earth with the intention that the earth feels your love, and you should feel the earth's love back to you. And then while you're holding that, you send, put your awareness on source, true highest most immanent source. You send love to the source with the intention source feels your love for source, then you feel source's love back for you. And you could do that meditation on its own and just like be in that love and feel source's and earth's love and you sending love to source and the earth. But it was also like a meditation for like, it was a Merkaba meditation, I believe, for like a temporary, there's like a few different things I've heard about the Merkaba while we're on the topic. That was like a temporary Merkaba exercise where it's like you just had to focus on it and do the meditation and your Merkaba would be spinning. It was a really awesome exercise, but there's also exercises for like permanently activating your Merkaba. If you're interested in that or are curious about that, the ones I've found on that I've only really found videos on it by this dude named Brian Besco, and he works with a company called Twisted Sage. And if you look up on YouTube, like Twisted Sage, permanent Merkaba activation or Merkaba reactivation or Brian Besco Merkaba activation, he goes through a meditation or exercise to permanently activate your Merkaba. So you do with that information what you will. I don't know why I feel like I just like woof from what I was originally talking about, but putting your awareness on the earth, sending love to the earth, getting in touch energetically and grounding will help you out. And maybe someone needed the Merkaba exercise, or a lot of you did. I don't know. Next message here. I could check in, but let's just move on with the reading. The next thing anything else with that before we move on here? Nope. They showed me a UFO. UFOs have been showing up for the earth signs like every week with these, I believe, like the past 3 weeks at least. I feel like whether I set it out or not, like even when I was doing the readings, like one would just show up in my intuitive visuals and like hang out, or while I was preparing. And this kind of came through last week as well, I think, but the message was like out of this world, and a lot of out of this world experiences coming your way. The universe is bringing you unorthodox experiences so you can grow, was another thing of that. I think last week's message was like, you are out of this world. I feel like that still applies for many of you. I don't think that would just go away after a week. But in this iteration, they want to talk about out of this world experiences and unorthodox experiences that help you grow. Those could be positive, by the way. We can grow through positive experiences. It doesn't always have to be challenges and trials and tribulations and, all that jazz. So some type of weird experience that helps you grow, I guess is the way I'm hearing it. Next message here, they give me the words golden abundance. I have a lot for the earth signs, so I might just kind of like whoop through. Well, I'll just go through it however I'm guided to. But golden abundance were the words. They said, what thoughts do you need to let go of to allow abundance through? How can you change those ruts in your mind? And the way they show me the book, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, which is a really interesting read. It's not necessarily spiritual, but it could be helpful for anyone trying to shift their habits and who are interested in that topic. And maybe even a bit about how the subconscious works is something I'm hearing if anyone's interested in that. But the way they showed it was like, because I don't know. This showed up for me somehow, of this thought of like habits of thought almost being like, if you like, I don't know if this is literally how it works, but if you trudge on the ground long enough times, it starts to like wear a path, or it starts to maybe even like create like a divot's not the right word, but like a trench, I guess you could say. Or if like you walk through the snow, it like creates like a trench through the snow. And sometimes you create these habits of thoughts, and it just helps to break that habit and to kind of rewrite your thoughts, rewrite the trails you've created in your mind of thought, if that makes sense, or like triggers and the thoughts that follow, or things like that. I feel like now is a good time to look into that or sit with that or do that, especially regarding abundance. I feel like you have thoughts that you don't realize are running the show that are perhaps hindering your abundance. And I'm not trying to put that on you. It's just something to check in with and see what you could do with that to help you out here. Also, they're re-highlighting that. They're showing me the book again. They're like, book. So The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg could be an important read for some of you, if not a lot of you. If you feel called to that book, I would definitely look into it. I feel like some of you need it, is something I'm getting. I feel like it would help you change things. And again, not a spiritual book, but it's more of a self-help book. It could be helpful. And it could even explain a lot of your life. Not all of you, but some of you. Next message here: you are changing your brain by rewiring your thoughts and patterns to allow you to attract better, which is what we just talked about. So I would do that. Or maybe some of you are already on that kick. Anything else I need to get to with this? The next message here is that your energetic systems are changing, or your systems in life are changing. And they showed it like leaving a cocoon behind. I don't think you realize how you're evolving out of old patterns in addition to these thought messages we just talked about here. It's the message they're showing me is it's almost like a steam engine train evolving into, or being, I don't know if replaced is the right word, but being exchanged with an electric powered train, or something that's a lot more efficient and powerful. I'm not calling you outdated or a steam engine. It's just the example they're showing me. So in some way, shape, or form, your systems are changing and evolving, which is really good. I feel like you've earned it. This might be something you've put hard work into achieving or having happen. So good on you. Next message here. They're showing me hockey and like a goal. Is it goals in hockey, or do they call it something else? I don't watch hockey. I think they're called goals. What's up with hockey here? Hockey could just be a sign for you, but they're showing someone kind of getting a goal in hockey. And they're also showing me the Chicago Blackhawks as a team, which is, I mean, I'm around Chicago right now is where I live. So I don't know why they're showing me the Blackhawks, but maybe that's a sign for you. I don't have much else besides that that's showing up as a message. They are highlighting the ice, however. Nope, they just want me to move on. Okay, next message here. There was just a quick message that you have a lot more fire in you, and you're going to be more, for the highest good, more fiery and on fire, and a good positive light coming up here. This could also be a sign or synchronicity for you as fire, and that things are going in a good direction. The next message was, they just said to make sure you're enjoying your life, which is a reminder that comes through pretty frequently, or has been coming through frequently lately. They just gave me the word fun and said, make sure you enjoy your life. In between work, you can work hard. I think that's fine, but make sure you're enjoying your life on top of everything. And the reminder, I feel like I say this every week, but maybe even multiple times, but should I get into it? Briefly. You're only here for so long, whether you want to say life is long, or you want to say life is short, or you want to say life is whatever you want to say life is. Make sure you're enjoying it while you're here. Otherwise, what are you doing is kind of just one of the messages I want to bring through. So there's just more to life than like suffering through things, or they're almost saying like putting in work for what? And it's like, yeah, you could say like you're working on things at the soul level, or preparing for future lifetimes, depending on your belief system or anything like that. But if you have the capability and the ability, enjoying your life is a key part of life. And that's something you're meant for. It's not meant to be serious all the time. It's something I'm hearing. I know it can be different for each of you, but that's the message that's coming through. Next message, they show me a pumpkin. It was about an upshift to your abundance, which I think I've already talked about this reading, but you are healing everything in the way of abundance. We just talked about that. And the last message here, I feel like you don't realize how abundant you can be. I think sometimes you think abundance is for someone else and not you. But I feel like you're preparing for a lot of abundance is something I'm getting in either every area or in areas that are important to you. And I suppose, whatever. Next message here is they showed me a dragon. They showed this like dragon like grabbing you and then throwing you up into the air and then flying up after you and grabbing you and throwing you up higher. Or maybe it was two dragons doing this actually. And they kind of threw you up until you were at the edge of the atmosphere. And it was about being uncomfortable, because you'd probably be uncomfortable at that height, physically, if you were a human at that height. They said, even if things make you uncomfortable, you need to head towards your success. You need to move forward. Discomfort is where growth is. Not always, but in this example, yes. They said, not weird people. Okay. The clarification that you probably don't need is like, discomfort is where growth is doesn't mean, I feel like I don't need to explain this, but not weird people who are trying to be creepy towards you, discomfort, but like, or like a weird skeevy record producer or something. Like you don't need to put yourself in that to grow, of course, but like if you're uncomfortable being on stage, it's like edging that a little bit where you're kind of pushing your comfort zone or leaving your comfort zone and just doing it anyways and getting the practice with that until it becomes more comfortable for you. Also, the other thing is like, to balance this message, you don't have to be like freaking out uncomfortable. Just move towards things even if you're a little uncomfortable is what they were saying. I feel like I explained that way more than I needed to. So they're showing me a cactus next here. They're showing this cactus like with these like, it almost has like retractable needles, like it can like suck them in. There's like, I feel like there's a couple messages with this one. I feel like what's the message here? I feel like if certain things have been sticking you in life, they're not going to be sticking you as hard, or you're about to be able to pass certain challenges with ease, where it's like maybe before you had to brush up against the cactus needles and it was difficult or painful or something, or like negatively uncomfortable. I feel like you've hit this rite of passage or completed it where things get easier, or you're about to, which is good. There was something about boundaries coming up, because if you think about it, a cactus's needles could also symbolize a cactus's boundaries. And I almost wanted to say something, but they're kind of saying no at me as I start to say this, so I don't think it's the message. But I was going to say something like you don't need to retract your boundaries for other people, unless they're unhealthy. It's like it's okay to maintain your boundaries, even if other people seem uncomfortable with them. And the other thing, I don't think it's the message, but I feel called to say it. Maybe it'll help you in some way, is like, if you're a cactus and you have needles, and this is aside from the retractable cactus needle message, it's kind of their choice to like stick themselves with the needles and brush up against your boundaries. If that makes sense. You don't need to retract your boundaries for other people. It's like, it's kind of their fault if they like see the needles and do it anyways, and it's not, I'm not saying go out and hurt people, but I'm just saying it's okay not to retract your boundaries for other people. It's kind of their fault if they keep doing it. I don't know. Weird message, but and that's not the total message for all of you, but there might be something along those lines you need to hear. Let's see here. They wanted me to pull the top card in this golden tarot deck. I didn't know what the top card. Well, yeah, this is the top card. It's the sun. I feel like you're headed towards this after a long struggle is something I'm getting, or after a moon phase. You might also have like a moon tarot card phase coming in temporarily is something I'm getting. Oh, there's 111 people here, 111 people here. Make a wish, or that might be a sign for you. I feel like there might be some confusion, but you're going to be okay. So I would not worry if you have some confusion that you get tied up with before this comes in, like clarity, abundance, success, feeling good, feeling like life is going your way are all the words and phrases I'm hearing with this card. I just feel like you're also on the right track is something I'm getting. They're also showing this like this banner that the that the kid on the, oh my gosh, the glare from the light here is okay. There's this banner that the kid is waving, and I'm getting the words like the banner of success. I'm just getting this message. You will be successful. Again, it might take patience, but that's what you're headed towards. I'm hearing the words next month. So this might even be next month that this comes in for you here. They're also pointing they're pointing my eyes to the feather that's on this kid's head. If you will look at the child on the horse with the feather on his head. Why are you pointing my eyes to that here? There's a couple different things they're showing me. We already talked about success, but they're showing someone with like a writing quill, like writing with it. I feel like some of you need to write. You probably know who you are, like you're writers, or it'd be really good to journal. For others of you here, it can be feathers, of course, can be a sign of angels and angelic assistance. So what's the message here? It's just a message. You have a lot of help from the angels, so I would just ask for help with the angels. And if you need a sign, the sunflowers are the sign that the sun is coming in, is what I'm hearing for you as well, a sign or synchronicity. So there's actually more with this card. They're pointing at the wall behind the kid on the card as well. I feel like this wall needs to come down. It's like the only thing that could hold you back, I suppose. And what does the wall symbolize? Before I just leave it at that. It's the wall symbolizes where you're not letting people in, where you're not accepting help, and where you're not helping yourself. And it's where you've put your barriers up to receiving what the universe has for you. And it could be because of past trauma. I'm not saying there's not a good reason that's shown up for you or that you put that up. I'm just saying anything you can do to tear down your walls, whether it's about people or at a job, or it could even be like, this could also symbolize your unwillingness to take action because of like past trauma or something like that. Anywhere you can heal that and move past that, the more the sun you're going to get, the more the sun is going to peek through, and the monsters are gone is something I'm getting. Like you might be afraid of tearing down this walls and there are like monsters or orcs hiding in the sunflower field or something. There's nothing there, is what I'm getting. Like the reason you have walls up is because you're afraid of what's on the other side of those walls based on past experiences. But the monsters are gone. They're defeated. They've gone away. They're showing Archangel Michael there helping you, like he like struck the monsters down or something. I don't know. Just what they're showing me. And I think you need to realize that and tear your walls down, your barriers to receiving whatever those may be. And one more card here. Which deck? We're going to do one from our friend, the Abstract Art deck. I'm going to shuffle just a quick second. And they want this card. Oh my gosh, can I read Roman numerals? Yeah, 7 of Wands. My gosh. So determination and resolve. And let me just sit with this message for a second to see what they want to bring through about this card here. Excuse me. So I feel like this is not the traditional meaning of 7 Wands, but the message I hear is I feel like you're going to be defeating something that's been holding you back. And it could be I'm not talking about physically, hopefully it's not physically having to defeat someone, but it's like someone that's been holding you back or someone that's been in your way. And it could even be someone that's been in your way unbeknownst to you. I don't feel like I'm totally nailing what this card wants to say though. Because one thing that's jumping out at me is like there's all this like stuff that looks like light on this card. I feel like you need to, we talked about this, but bring that in. And I feel like that'll help make the difficulty leave is something I'm hearing as well. I feel like I'm not, what else is going on with the 7 of Wands here? That's good. They just said to put the card away. That's it. And they want one more. Okay. 9 of Cups, wishes fulfilled. 9 of Cups is of course a card of wish fulfillment. I feel like this is about emotional fulfillment. I feel like moving forward is going to bring emotional fulfillment. So anywhere you're not moving forward, I would try to move forward. It's going to bring this 9 of Cups in. Even if it seems difficult at first, is something I'm getting. You know, the person that's on the traditional 9 of Cups is also kind of like, he looks fat and happy. I'm not calling you fat, but you might, and the words I've just heard were, and I don't think this is literal, but you're going to be fat and happy. So maybe you're going to be more like a fat, happy Buddha, you know, where it's like, you're good. Your needs are fulfilled. Maybe you don't even need anything. You're just happy and filled, I suppose. I feel like that's going to be you. And you might not literally be fat, by the way. It's more just that that energy of being fat and happy, I guess. I'm going to close the reading there. I hope that was helpful and made sense and did whatever it was I was good for it to do for you. And we're going to move to the air signs next after I drink some fluids. After I drink my coffee and water. And they want to jump right in, so we're doing it. Air signs, sun, moon, or rising. So if you have an air sign, and you are very welcome, Tiffy Jean. Thank you. Wow, that was a lot. That was a lot. You're welcome. So air sign, sun, moon, or rising. How are you doing? Of course, it's for you when you see it. If you're here live, it's for you now. If you're here on YouTube, it's for you when you see it. So first thing that came through for the air signs, and I've got channel messages here, and my spirit guides, the angels, and source will bring through any additional information that's for your highest good as I go through these, and we might pull cards, we'll see. Slam dunk was the first thing they showed me, and so what's coming in, you're going to be slam dunking it in life in some way area, success, or doing great in some way. I feel like it's in work. I feel like you deserve this. I feel like you've been doing the work and putting work in to improve yourself is something they're showing me. It will pay off, by the way. I would keep working on yourself. I feel they're saying to say it, but I remember like when I first started doing a lot of these air sign readings and first started doing the lives like this, where I was going by the elements, air signs just kind of seemed like they weren't always doing so great. I feel like you're doing a lot better or will soon. I feel like the air signs have turned something around where you're doing better or will soon, like I literally just said. So that's good. But it just seemed like it was difficult, or there was like messages of difficulty for you guys when I was first starting out, or it could be received that way, I suppose, because maybe not all of you had it bad. Next message here, you are headed towards your abundance, and for some of you is slowly, but prepare for great things to come in, but be patient. So the first things about like, oh yeah, and like what this reading, the questions we're answering, the theme, is what's coming in and what would source like to say. So it's kind of a mixture of all that. The other thing coming in is you are headed towards your abundance, and like what I just said, be a little bit patient though. So what else would be highest I'm trying to bring through for you right now? So Grasshopper showed up in the collective, but it's showing up for you as well. Usually when Grasshopper shows up, it's about leaps of faith. I feel like before maybe you were held back from a leap of faith because it's showing this Grasshopper in like an upside down glass vase. It's like it jumps, it's like dink, you know, like when bugs jump against glass, it's like dink, dink, dink. But it's kind of like that vase has been removed. I feel like one thing you're not expecting is moving forward really quickly in some way soon, like a leap forward. I feel like you are going to be taking leaps of faith soon. The message I'm hearing is you are going to be taking leaps of faith soon. So that is good, especially where you've been held back. And sometimes it's a timing thing. Sometimes you are not ready and the universe is like, oh no, let's let's not have you move to Alaska on your own yet, is the weird example that's showing up. Let's take another year and prepare finances and prepare you mentally and emotionally before you're on your own. I don't know why they're using that example of someone moving away to Alaska by themselves, but whatever. Next message here, they have this in bold, and they said this like multiple times when I was preparing for this reading, and they wanted me to highlight it. I don't know if there's a highlight function on Pages for Mac, and I think there is, but I didn't feel like figuring it out, so I just made it bold. They just said you have a higher road ahead, and that's an important message for you right now. I feel like some of you think you're stuck with the same old, or a lot of you, but you're not. And sometimes it's like just when we like, I'm not encouraging you to give up, but sometimes it's just when we give up that like we see how something's possible, or the road opens up, or something happens. Just when the last bit of resistance in us dies, the road opens wide is something I'm hearing as well with this one. Some of you, at least some of you think you're stuck on a lower road and you're not, is what I'm hearing. So you have a higher road ahead. Next message here, and I know it's a really brief message, but they really wanted to emphasize that, like you have a higher road ahead. Next message, clock and clockwork, and they showed someone like punching in and punching out, like almost like at a job, and they, the visual was almost, it was like a clock, and then it was like all these like, you know how in cartoons, like when time passes, sometimes they'll show, okay, what's this? They just want me to get to the message. That was weird. They just said, use your time wisely and don't dilly-dally. Take action when you know what you desire to do. It will help bring things faster. And they also says, like, don't second guess yourself, just go. And it kind of ties in with that grasshopper taking leaps, moving forward quickly, I think. There was just like a message to not just stand there, but to take action on your dreams. If I'm putting this together properly, I think you need to take action. And that's all they really wanted me to say for that right now. The next message here, I don't know. I was talking about the cartoons and like the clocks, and then I kind of felt like something came over me and I was in a weird trancey state. So they wanted me to talk about it more though. And they're kind of just saying, to me, you don't need to describe all the visuals. You just need to deliver the messages. So, okay, thank you. They showed me Rainbow Road next. I know that's like from Mario Kart, and they actually kind of gave me the visual from Mario Kart. Maybe just to be tongue-in-cheek a little bit or to have fun, but with me. They showed you sitting at the edge of this like Rainbow Road with your like legs dangling off, kind of like you would do like at the end of a dock. You're like dangling your legs in the water at the edge of a pier. And, you Rainbow Road in Mario Kart's just like in space. So you're just kind of like above this void almost, just like dangling your feet. And they were like carts zooming by because they wanted to have fun with it, I guess. And the message was, there's plenty of opportunity for you. Don't waste it by sitting still, which is kind of a further into the last message. Follow your heart. There is opportunity coming in a way you can see it. You're going to have plenty of opportunity. So I think if there are all these messages of not wasting your time, not just sitting still, not second guessing, not waiting around, but taking action when you're ready and when you feel called to and when you have clarity on that, or even just now. I feel like if you think you want to do something and it's within reason, and it seems safe enough to do it, or it's an educated risk or guess, I would do it. Or if you're intuitively guided to do something, of course, like sit with it and see if it feels right to put it into action right now. But I feel like there's something that needs to be put into action and you need to do it. It's something I'm hearing. Otherwise, it's almost like you're just wasting time. I don't know if anything really is a waste of time, but that might just be a message designed to get you to waste forward. Oh my God. A message designed to get you to move forward. Excuse me. Don't waste forward, please. Next message here. Is there more with this Rainbow Road here? I just feel like the opportunity is in front of you. You just need to take it, whatever it is the way they're clarifying it. There are also finish lines coming up to keep going with this racetrack analogy that they're giving me. I think you need to not stop. Kind of like the tortoise and the hare story where the rabbit is all like, yeah, I'm fast. I make it to the finish line fast. But he's like, never mind. I'm going to take a nap because I'm arrogant. And then the tortoise crosses the finish line, even though he's really slow because he's steadfast and keeps going. I think you need to not pull a rabbit. And like, you need to not just like stop and like, I feel like the finish line is either right there or you're heading towards it. So don't stop before the finish line, whatever that means to you. Next message here, they show me purple and they kind of showed it like the violet flame. And the message was purge. They said, utilize anything for clearing you can that's for the highest good for your home every week. We're switching gears with this message. It's going to start to shift the energetics around you and help you. This will help upshift things for you. So I would be clearing your home every week, like every Sunday. Well, I know it's Sunday now, but one day every week, just clear your energies in your home. Sage, use sound, singing bowls, Tibetan bell, whatever works for you. I just feel like that's going to help you. And like the message that it's going to upshift things for you. It's going to shift the energetics. And sometimes it's like the only thing holding us back is just like a weird like thing, or like just something feels wrong or something. I don't know about the word wrong, and it's like, and maybe there's something you're clearing from your past that you don't realize is lingering from your home or something, but I just feel like clearing your home every week is going to help you. Just your friendly reminder from your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Never mind. They didn't want me to say that. Sorry. Bad joke. I'm not Spider-Man. Sorry. Next message here. I don't know why they gave me the phrase lazy is not good, but if you need to hear it, I would try to avoid being lazy. The next message here, it was a message about solar plexus healing. And for a lot of you, that's a good chakra to focus on regarding like if you were just put some sound healing on in the background or something like that. And that's just a good chakra to focus on for many of you. There are more messages for you guys. So let me sit, because I know like we didn't have as much ahead of time as for the earth signs. It doesn't really matter. It's more about what needs to come through and what's the proper amount for each reading. We're pulling a card though. Queen of Wands coming out here. Passion is the word I'm getting. And they do have the words passionate, innovator at the bottom as well. The good news is I feel like you're headed out of this darkness and into this like this new land here or something, new opportunity. This kind of, the words golden abundance are, I guess, a key today because they're coming through again. I feel like over here, the message I'm hearing is you're afraid of a lot of things going wrong. I know this is not the typical meaning of Queen of Wands, but bear with me. I'm just channeling the messages and letting you know what I'm getting here intuitively and channeled wise. Again, you're heading from the darkness out of the light. I feel like you're afraid of a lot of things going wrong. I feel like that could be something that's holding you back or keeping you from taking action. I feel like you need to not worry about that. I feel like that's just like fear and second guessing, and you don't need to worry about it, honestly. I feel like that's one thing that could help anyone around this time period is taking action regardless of feeling afraid is something I'm hearing. Or feeling nervous or like a nervous wreck even just a small step might start to assuage those fears and show you everything's okay. I also feel like there's no need to be afraid. A lot of the fear around you is an illusion and you're kind of worried about nothing, which is, I prefer that message over like, yes, you should be worried. That's what's coming through. What's the message with this here? There's also just a quick message, and I don't mean to goad you, but if you look here, and you can kind of see it in the camera actually, this looks like this little blotch here looks like it's shaped like a chicken, and they pointed my eyes to it and said chicken. I'm like, what are we going here? But the words I'm hearing are don't be a chicken. And I'm not trying to taunt you. It's just what they're saying here. They're also giving me the words like, you've already come this far, just keep going. I feel like that's regarding a project or something going on as well. So as far as what else the Queen of Wands is saying, what other messages are for the highest good for you? So we did get the word passion at first, and I didn't really elaborate more on that. So what's going on here with the passion and Queen of Wands here? One way to read the Queen of Wands is that the Queen of Wands needs to be bold. I also get she needs to go for her passions. She also needs to not care what people think. And if she makes a mistake, and it doesn't matter what gender you are, it needs to not matter. She needs to keep going is something I'm getting. And, mistakes can be lessons or teaching moments. It can be what keeps us from making a mistake in the future. And I'm not saying go out and like intentionally make mistakes. I feel like that would... The words they're giving me like, that's stupid. And I'm not trying to call you stupid. They're just like, that would be stupid. What I am trying to say is don't be afraid of making mistakes on accident, because that's going to teach you how to be good on the future with like a project or something, are the words I'm hearing. The other message coming in with Queen of Wands that's completely different is that they're kind of pointing out, we're switching gears a little bit, sort of. There's a lot of purple on this card in the background. So what's up with the purple on this card in the background here? It's about connection, like crown chakra, connection to true highest and most infinite source, to your angelic team, your highest angels. And why is this coming through for you air signs right now here? I feel like that might be a good thing to work on, is your connection and feeling more connected in general, even if it's to people around you and not just to like your angels or to source or anything like that. I feel like that would help uplift things for you is another message coming through. There's even more with this card though. We're not done yet, because the other thing this looks like is that they're pointing out is like these are sunset colors with this card. And what's the message with the sunset? They're just saying if the sun sets on something in your life, something ends or goes dark on you, the sunrise is just around the corner in a different area. And they're just saying like, go with where the sun is in your life. What does that mean? I know I probably need to clarify that. I feel like if there's an area of your life where the sun sets on it and it's just like, all of a sudden it's in darkness or it ends, or there's like an uncomfortable conclusion are the words I'm hearing. That's not the way is something I'm getting. Or it's like, go towards where the sun is rising in your life and things are positive or working out. I feel like I'm not delivering this perfectly. So I want to make sure I'm getting this right for you. Give me 1 second to get the message to really help you out. What would help you out the most here for you to hear about this? they're just clarifying, like, if the sun sets in your life in some area, don't worry about it. Just go to where the sun rises. If a relationship ends, there's another one for you. If a job opportunity is lost, the sun's going to rise somewhere else for you where you can get an income. You're going to be taken care of. One more card, actually. I didn't expect this to be so card focused. Nope. Okay, hold on. I'm going to shuffle this because I had a card and they were like, nah. And I know my shuffling skills are... I put all my points into other aspects of reading instead of shuffling. So they didn't like that joke. Sorry. That was just a joke. That's like a Dungeons and Dragons joke or something. Oh my God. Pull the top card. Okay. I feel like there's another card. 8 of Wands. And with 8 of Wands coming out here, quick victory is a message that's coming through. It's one way to read it. I know it can also be communication. There's a lot of different things going on here, but what's the message with these 8 of Wands beside this here? Okay, it's kind of a continuation of the last message we had with the Queen of Wands, which I know is not a traditional reading of the Queen of Wands, but I feel like if you keep going towards the sunrise, if the sun sets on something, it's like a quick victory or a quick success, or things turn around for you really quickly. This is also about a turnaround. I feel like there are multiple turnarounds for you in multiple areas of life, because they're showing me 3. It could be a different number, but it's like there's one that's really quick and like maybe smaller. But there are big ones and like medium-sized ones underway in other areas of your life. And sometimes our life doesn't all turn around at once. It turns around for the better, of course, like in different areas at different times. And that's one thing you might need to realize is things might not all get better all at once, but things will get better over time in different areas. Sometimes in conjunction, sometimes not. But your job is to be patient and keep assisting this turnaround is what I'm getting. But they want me to close the reading there. I know that might have been briefer than the Earth sign reading, but nope. Okay. That's a no from them. So they won't. Okay, we're going to close the... do I need to talk about that? Anything else before we close the reading? Tiger's Eye is a crystal that's showing up, as well as Jade, but it actually, in my intuitive visuals, it looked more like Prehnite and Epidote. So why are we talking about this here? I think a lot of people are just having these messages about abundance healing today for whatever reason. And abundance healing, Tiger's Eye can be about a lot of things, but abundance is one of them, and prosperity. Same with Jade for sure. Jade can be about abundance and wealth and things like that. Maybe consider making a crystal grid for abundance of your choosing, or Google it and see if one comes up that you'd like to do. But I feel like Jade would be a good crystal to include in that. Probably the 3 crystals no, sorry. Come on. Can I get the full clarity on this, please? It would help you guys the most. Okay, any crystal grid you want to build for abundance would be great. Maybe include Tiger's Eye or Jade or something like that. And maybe Prehnite and Epidote, but that might be more for like healing your hearts or sore areas of your life, more so than abundance. Okay, that's it. I'm going to close the reading there. I think like the other thing with Tiger's Eye is it's good for the lower 3 chakras, typically, is how it's taught. And so that could be a good crystal to help with those lower 3 chakras, and balancing that can be helpful, which has been kind of a message on and off for the past couple months for different people, which I guess makes sense with world events and things going on within people right now. Okay, we're going to move on to the water signs, sun, moon, or rising. Hope that was helpful and did whatever was for that good for it to do for you. The Authentic Mystic, do you need to remake your grid? No, I instantly get no. Maybe if you do any type of energy work like Reiki, send it some juice, send it some Reiki or something to kind of revamp it. But your reading... oh my God, you're welcome, Edissa. You're welcome for the reading. I am... The words today are great. How's it get any better than that? So, I'm going to drink water before... We're going to skip the coffee. I need like 1 second here to like just ground or just take a second. Will bell ringing be enough to clear? Sage makes me cough. I feel like bell ringing will be more than enough. I think that would be perfect. You don't have to make yourself super uncomfortable for it, is what I'd say. I would just do what works in addition to that. So, fully for the highest good. Water signs, sun, moon, or rising. If you have a water sign, sun, moon, or rising, it's for you when you see it. I feel like sound is great for clearing energies. The authentic mystic. I remember, like, I used to, well, what would be fast for me to say about this? I used to work in a store and there were sound healings. And there was like a gong meditation and sound healing session that one person would come in and do, and the store would be clear for like the next week or two, like super clear. So I think sound can be amazing for clearing. So we're jumping into the reading. So if you have a water sign, sun, moon, or rising, it's for you when you see it, of course. Let's dive in. So the first message I have for you that channeled down ahead of time, actually they want to bring in the UFO that was showing up for the earth signs, or a similar message here. And they're giving me the words out of this world again. I feel like you are out of this world, or will be soon. And I feel like you have abundance issues healing rapidly. I feel like that's been just a message that's been coming through for almost every sign here, which is fine. It's on the table for people. But there is a big rise of abundance healing, or healing abundance issues, and you are going to be working through it quickly. So maybe you're even like putting yourself through some type of course on abundance, or class, or some type of healing about it. But I feel like certain things are going to be working out of your system really quickly, like faster than usual. So you can get to it faster is something I am getting. I feel like it's also on the table because everyone needs abundance is something I'm getting, or is looking for it. I feel like abundance is on the table for the world as far as like looking at it and like healing it. And there's plenty to go around for everyone. So another thing that we're healing is worthiness of abundance is something I'm getting, or where are we withholding our abundance? And I feel like that's on the table for you guys to heal, because you're worthy of a lot and you need to see it and stop holding it at arm's length or holding it back from you. Whatever abundance is to you. And getting clear on what abundance is for you can be helpful. But anything you can do to get in the frequency of abundance would also be good, whether it's abundant people or places that feel abundant to you, and kind of for the highest good, soaking in the abundant energies that would be that's good for you to soak in. Next message here, waterfall. It was kind of a message about meditating and to take time for you. You do not have to do everything at once. So, okay, a couple different messages. I would be taking time for yourself and meditating and like getting clear, or just take time for you. I feel like if you try to, another side message with this is if you try to do everything at once, it will be a mess. So I feel like taking time to step back and get clarity is great. So you're kind of methodically taking out the task you need to take out, if that makes sense. And waterfall can be a symbol of meditation, because monks, at least in Japan, used to like sit under waterfalls and like have the waterfall pour through their crown chakra. It was supposed to, I think in theory, it was supposed to open the crown chakra or something. So that's where they got that. That's why they brought that through with that. We're showing me bats next, and it's about trauma healing. Interestingly enough, is what the bats are symbolizing this time around. And bats aren't necessarily to be feared, but a lot of people fear them. Let me sit with what's the highest message for you to bring through that would help you the most regarding the bats here. I think it can seem fearful, or people can be fearful to venture into their trauma and healing it, whether it's about abundance or anything else, but it's not as, what's the best way to say this? It's either not going to be as bad as you think, or there's less to fear than you think. I also am just getting messages that trauma is leaving, just showing these bats like flying away out of this cave. And it's really time for this purge to take place so you can be trauma-free or more trauma-free, or patched up enough that you can move forward without trauma getting in your way. And it's just time to heal it is something I'm getting. So there is going to be a lot of trauma healing occurring. I don't feel like it's going to be in like I know the words good and bad are weird, but bad, I don't think it's going to be bad. I think it's just going to be, it is what it is. And if you're taking time for you, it's going to be healing on its own. So for most of you. I feel like I'm not nailing this. Give me 1 second to sit, just get clear here. Okay, so the next message I have here, there was a message of flow. Thanks for being patient with me. They just kind of said there is a flow returning to you, especially if something has dried up. They just said flow is key. So where is the flow in your life or in work? Go that way and work on that thing that has flow. That will be your guide for now, along with your intuition and divine guidance, and things like that, of course. So I would be we're flowing with where the flow is and going there. I feel like that's where your abundance lies, is something I'm hearing as well, is going with where the flow is. It's like, where are things flowing with work? Where are things flowing in relationships? Focus on those areas. That's your key, is something I'm hearing. So maybe if something is just lacking flow, try working on something else. And there have been like things I know I've been working on that it's just like I really want to work on them. It's just like I'll sit down and there's no flow. It's just like a block. But then other things will have perfect flow to them. So I'll just go work on those other things. And there's nothing wrong with that, I guess, is the words I'm hearing. Of course there's not, but try to follow your flow. Next message that came through, I think there's more with the bats here, because they're showing a vampire bat here. What's the message here? I don't think you need to be afraid, but I would stay away from people who drain you for the time being. Like, don't stay around them more than you need to. I feel like that'll be helpful for you. I feel like that would probably be an obvious message, but it's just something they're saying here. And what I want to say is I don't care who they are. So I don't know. That was just something they were showing me as well. Next message here, they're showing me a water wheel. What's the message here? I feel like a little bit stumbled up on this reading, so I really apologize. I feel like it's not flowing as well as the other ones. But the wooden wheels, and they're in the rivers, and it's like it kind of generates electric power typically, or some people would use it in the olden days to like mill rice, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or things like that. And I could be wrong about that, but what's the message with this water wheel going on here? So the way they're showing it to me is it's not the zodiac sign, but they're using it as an example for how there can just be different phases of life that the wheel will potentially turn through. Like, how in astrology it's like we're in Pisces season, we're in XYZ season. They're kind of showing this wheel turning into like it's not astrology, but like a different symbol or phase. And what you need to realize, what I'm hearing for you, is you need to realize phases will change on their own. And you don't need to worry about a phase repeating itself all the time or things always being the same. One thing that's coming in is like this phase change in your life that's almost like unwarranted in some ways, except that it's just the natural course is something I'm getting. It's like, I don't feel like you're losing anything. I don't feel like you did anything wrong. I don't even think it's bad. It's just like, sometimes the energetic phases or the energies in our life just like shift and we're like, what happened? But, I feel like if that happens and you're in like a what happened kind of phase or mode, it's like something good is coming in the next phase. It's just like you're in between phases. You haven't hit that next phase yet. So, again, if there's something that crumbles in your life, there's something that's going to be better that replaces it, is one of the messages. But the other thing is like I feel like this has been coming through in different ways for everyone. Like you're heading into a different phase. And sometimes that in-between phase is tricky if you're not sure what's going on. Just know that things will come in and flow again in the next phase and be better than before. Anything else that would help you with that regarding that message here? I'm also getting this message like I wouldn't give up during any sort of phase change. I would just kind of keep going and let the wheel spin how the wheel will spin, and you'll be headed towards the right thing in the right time is what I'm hearing. Weird message, but hopefully that makes sense to you the way it's coming out. Next message here, there was a mountain. Well, wait, I missed a message. Truth. They said, be sure you are being, this has been coming through, I feel like specifically for the water signs. Um, why am I making weird sounds with my hands? The past like few months, they just said, be sure you are being honest with yourself about everything. It will change things for the better. It will help you change things. Lying to yourself gets you nowhere. This is about people and jobs. And they also just said like honesty heals, even if it's a long game. I would be very truthful with yourself about everything in your life, even if it's difficult or uncomfortable or it forces a lot of change, because it can be what changes things for the better. And sometimes it's lying about things that keeps people stuck. Like they're in a relationship that they know is not for them, and maybe this relationship could go on forever. And they're just, maybe some people lie to themselves. They're like, oh, this is fine. This is fine. This is what I want, I guess, except not really. And by lying to yourself, you're just perpetuating this thing you don't want, you don't really want. Or maybe it's on that line, like it's fine, some things are good, some things are bad, but overall it's like it's not for you, and you just need to realize that. I'm not saying this is your relationship, that's just an example that they're using with this, by the way. So wherever you need to sit with yourself and be honest with yourself, I would do that. I was going to give something else, but they said not to. So next message here, they showed me a mountain. It was just a quick message that you will overcome. So don't stress. They also said challenge is growing you. Anywhere challenges are rearing their heads. One, I feel like they're going to be short-lived this month, whenever you're seeing this. Two, I feel like you can overcome them with ease. You just need to try or give one step of extra effort. So if you get like stopped up on something, just try like one more time or give it like one extra minute. And this is a little bit of a different thing, honestly, but it reminds me of when I tried wire wrapping crystals to make like pendants. And one thing that happened for me was like I would try it and it wouldn't work. I would try it and it wouldn't work. And then all of a sudden, I feel like it was more channeled, and that's why it just started working all of a sudden. But like all of a sudden, it would just grab it and I would just like move it and it would just like work all the way through, and it wasn't a trouble at all. It would just happen. And again, this was more channeled, and even the energetic of the pendant, the way it turned out, it felt like almost like one of the energy work symbols I'd channeled for Valiumi. And so I recognized it was like a channeled kind of thing that came through. But why am I talking about this? Because it was just a quick example of like, sometimes you try and it doesn't work, and you try and it doesn't work, and then all of a sudden it's like whoop, and it just works. So whether it's channeled or not. Next message here. Is there more with that before we keep going? I just feel like you're going to be overcoming challenges, even if there were challenges you were already dealing with. So let's move on here. They did give a message, of hot chocolates, and they gave the word rest. They said, if you are overworking yourself, okay, here's what they said. If you are overworking, bad things happen. I feel like some of you are riding that line. I don't feel like too many of you are overworking yourselves yet, but I would try to avoid overwork and do just the right amount of work. And they're giving me this message like balance of all things, like this. He almost looks like a monk is like showing up, and he's like a Buddhist monk or some type of monk. He is almost like presenting. Is he a spirit guide? They're just saying it's just a way spirit's delivering the message. Okay. So he's kind of there, and he's like sipping this tea, and he's just, whatever I just said, that's what he told me as like the message. And so I don't know if that's a sign for you in addition to that, but that's another message going on there. Oh yeah, balance in all things is what he said. And then he sipped his tea and now he's just kind of staring at me smiling, which is funny. Another thing that's showing up, that's not who this monk was, but Gandhi is showing up really quickly here. And it's a message about a movement. I know we're like at a message inside of a message here. We're kind of on a tangent, but what's this message about a movement here? I'm just getting a quick message not to join movements you aren't fully behind. Make sure you're fully behind something before you join it, or fully understand what something is about before you hop on a bandwagon. I feel like that will save you a lot of trouble for anyone who needs to hear that. Anyways, coming back to balance in all things, it's kind of like balance in the like right amount of work. Sometimes we don't need to like totally always rest, and sometimes we don't need to totally always work. We need to find our balance of just the right amount of work, just the right amount of rest, just the right amount of things. I feel like that's something you could pursue that would help you, is something I'm getting, is figuring out that balance instead of overworking and then needing to like recharge for 6 weeks or something like that for some of you. Some of you are fine with this, by the way. Next message, they showed me a marshmallow. I know we're kind of going like hot chocolate, marshmallow. I know, but that's what they show me. And the message was take time for sweetness and just a reminder to not be a Spartan and to fill your life with everything you enjoy. What would it take for you to enjoy your life was another question they had for you. To maybe you could be like, okay, universe, what would it take for me to enjoy my life? And you just manifest it that way. And universe answers by manifesting the answer. Here's what it would take. Here you go. Here you are. So just a quick reminder that comes through every now and then to not be a Spartan and fill your life with things you enjoy. The next message was that healing takes time at times and to not freak out if you are not healed tomorrow. This could be regarding trauma or something you've been trying to heal for a while. And sometimes things go in layers and it takes more than one pass to clear a situation or clear a trauma or clear something out of your system. So don't beat up on yourself if you've been like trying at something for a while to heal something and it's like doesn't seem like it's working. I feel like it is. It's just going to take time and you have layers of things to remove, not just like one thing is something I'm getting. They're showing it kind of like this. It's like if you got a sword wound or like an arrow, it's like, yes, you have to pull the sword. Well, probably you eventually need to pull the sword out. But then you also have to like treat the wound for infection. You have to see like, are there any fragments in there that you need to pull out? You need to kind of like bandage the wound and make it heal. Like you need to keep up on it a little bit. So it's like there's multiple aspects to a wound to heal, even in like a physical wound. I don't always like to put physical examples onto energetic ones personally, because I think sometimes we're just creating more things that we don't need to create by doing that. It's like it could be a lot easier energetically if we're not putting that is literally the same as the example on the energetic example. And that's why I sometimes get wary of people who always use physical examples for energetic things. I think sometimes they help us explain something or help us understand something, but it doesn't mean that's literally how it works, if that makes sense. But there might also be multiple aspects to healing your energetic wounds or your traumas or emotional things at the same time to clear it completely, is all I'm trying to say. There's more to that though, what else would be high so much for me to get to here? I feel like if you're worried about something being healed, they're giving me this interesting message. Like the angels have been trying to help you heal something for a long time or have been helping you heal something for a long time. And it's like inevitable that it does get healed. So don't worry that you're thinking you're never going to heal from something is something I'm getting as well. And, sometimes we can manifest our healing. So maybe another thing you could be is like, yes, I will be healed. It reminds me of another thing that I got from an ex who was into this healer who's dead named Hannah Kroger. And one of the things that my ex would tell me that Hannah Kroger would say is that, whenever she'd have a client and the client would ask like, can you heal me? Like, am I going to be healed? She would kind of pause. The way she told me the story, she'd kind of pause and be like, of course you will be healed. And I think sometimes manifesting that and saying that, it's like you're creating that, so maybe there's some self-talk you could work on to help yourself as well. Next message here. And I know we don't always, like if you're a healer, you don't want to give like false promises to people or even as a reader, I would always like to avoid giving false promises to people, but I don't know. That's also something to consider is what are you creating with your words? Next message here, they said orange and orange calcite, like the color orange and orange calcite. So this is about the sacral chakra. So there is a lot of emotional healing for this crowd. I would just take a second to breathe through any emotions that come up over the next little while. And know that you're healing your sacral chakra, which makes sense because we just talked about healing and sword wounds and things like that. Metaphorical sword wounds. Next message, healing the burdens. They said there are a lot of burdens lifting away. So just be patient with yourself. I feel like burdens have been lifting away for a while, but it's almost like exponential where it's like it starts slowly, but like an exponential curve goes rapidly up after a second. It's like the burdens will be lifted exponentially where it's like all of a sudden it's like faster until it's like you're healed and ready to move forward faster. They're showing me a really strange visual of like he looks like a hermit or like a monk again, but he has like a walking stick, and it's almost reminds me of a turtle, but he has this gigantic like boulder on his back, like strapped to his back like a turtle, and he's kind of like, this is my home. Um, but I feel like it's not his home; it's like just a burden. So, what are your burdens that you consider your safe spaces? Or your homes, metaphorically speaking, where maybe you just feels comfortable because it's familiar, or safe because it's familiar. And how can you start to release that so you're not unnecessarily carrying a gigantic boulder on your back wherever you go, metaphorically? Just something to consider as well, because I feel like working through that would heal a lot as well. uh and I know it seems weird that people would keep things they don't want around to like stay safe or to feel safe, but people do it all the time. If you think like an example that's they're showing to me is, people, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any type of body type, but some people will put on a lot of excess weight to protect themselves because of, a certain trauma that happened to them. Like, it could be a woman or man who has some type of, assault that happens, or something like that. And that's like a defense mechanism where it like insulates them from the world, or they're like kind of hiding behind it. While I'm on the topic, the other thing that's popping in is, sometimes if you're trying to lose weight, healing emotionally and releasing the emotions and those energies can be what helps you to lose weight. If anyone is dealing with that, where there's like a bunch of weight that needs to be released, that's just like for a few of you. But healing the emotional trauma, aside from the example I just gave you, that's a bit more obvious, where it's like that's your defense mechanism or your safe space. Sometimes releasing the emotion or the trauma can be what literally is what the weight was, and you lose the weight as well as you release it. I've like encountered that multiple times with like at least two times with people. I don't know why I want to talk about this, but like there was a friend who he was writing music. And he had all this, like he was working out. This was like years ago. This was before I really got into this stuff fully. But he was like weightlifting, he was working out, he was eating, paleo or slow carb or whatever people did back then in the early to middle 20 teens. And like he wasn't losing weight. But the second he started like writing this music album and like writing this album, it's like all this, like, because he was getting the emotion out, he was like releasing. It's like he started to lose the weight in addition to that. And then there was another person. I don't need to get too far into that, but that's just something to keep in mind if you're dealing with that. Next message here. Is there more with that we need to get to? And again, that's not all of you, but next message here. They gave me the message, like they showed me cotton. They said that there's like fluff leaving, and they did not mean that as a metaphor for overweight. I feel like and honestly, I don't even think it's necessarily a terrible thing if you have some excess weight. I think you need to love yourself. But the message is, with fluff is leaving, this is a good thing. There are a lot of things you're filling your time with that need to go. So if you're filling your time with like fluff or things are bad for you, or it's just not doing anything for you, I feel like it's a good idea to look at that and release that, or maybe start a journal of how you're using your time and just kind of document it each hour or something, or at certain marks in the day. And then like as you see what you're using your time on, you're like, oh, maybe I could spend a little bit less time sitting and staring out the window and being melancholic. 3:30 p.m. stare out the window and be melancholic. 4:30 p.m. that's not your schedule, but it'd be funny if that was someone's schedule that they wrote out for themselves. It's like the Grinch from that live action Jim Carrey Grinch movie. Anyways, I am digressing. So I feel like if there has been a lot of like fluff, and by fluff I mean like, like filler episodes in shows, or like where it's just like it doesn't really need to be there. It has no impact on the plot. It's just they're just filling time because they need to pump out an episode. I feel like that's kind of leaving your life, which is good. And you might even freak out because it seems like it's something important, but it's really not. It's something I'm getting. They almost want me to close the reading there. I feel like there's more with waterfall and water wheel, because they're reflashing through my intuitive visuals the waterfall and the water wheel from earlier. So what else do we need to get to that I didn't get to, or what do we need to clarify, or what's going on here? Fully, if that's good, what would help you the most? The artist's also singing this song. It's like, come live it. I'm sorry, voice crack. I need to drink some water, but it's like "Come Live in the Light," which I think was a church song from when I was growing up. I grew up Catholic, but what is the message? What needs to be delivered? What would be highest and best for me to deliver here for you? So you know how rivers will kind of change their course based on the weather, like if it rains a lot, and it reminds me of like the Rio Grande River and like Texas and Mexico used it as their border, but then it kept shifting and they would like lose or gain land, and it was like a whole weird thing. It's almost like the borders in your life are shifting is something they're showing me, or like maybe the flow of your life. I feel like it's a good thing. I feel like you're going to have more space, not less. And I feel like one message is like you just need to allow things to shift, like the flow to shift, people to shift, work to shift, and like shift as it will. And I'm getting this message like nature knows best. I know it's not literally a geographical thing that's shifting probably in your life that this is referring to. But sometimes nature knows the best course for our life, or life knows the best course for our life, and we just kind of need to allow it instead of resisting the course changes or the different flows of the river, or the river changing course, or the waterfalls changing, or whatever they want to use in an analogy here, because I feel like it's going to benefit you. And so I would just allow life to change. Is the message as simple as that. One card here, and I am like hitting my hermit. We just talked about a hermit with a rock on his back, didn't we? And I feel like this hermit in this card, with they're showing like he in the intuitive visuals on the card, he's just like oof, and he's like he feels relieved. Is also the message I'm hearing. I feel like it's time to reintegrate back into society for you guys, or into a friend group, or into family, and like show what you've learned. But it's almost like by example, and it could be telling them, but it's like showing people you've changed, and that will help them to change for the better. Is just a message coming through with this hermit. This hermit is also unburdened. He's kind of attained his enlightenment, where he knows he doesn't need to carry the burdens of others, and it doesn't do much good to do so. So this hermit is independent, but he almost needs to become, I know I'm telling like 20 different messages, but he needs to become interdependent. And it's like independent, but also working with other people. And that term for me comes from the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I never really read the whole thing, to be honest. But I remembered that terminology where it's like, instead of codependent, you're interdependent. It's like, yes, you're independent, but you're also working with other people in a healthy way. That's not codependent. And that's kind of what this hermit needs to do. He's gained what he needs to do that. And I feel like that's you. So I would, 1, drop the burdens, but 2, I feel like that's, yeah, we already said that. Anything else here? The other thing that's jumping out at me is he's holding his staff. I feel like it's very ever rarely read. And I could be wrong. I haven't really seen it read that this staff is like a wand, like the wand suite in tarot, but it's jumping out to me like that could be read as like a wand that he's holding. Kind of like, Gandalf has a magic staff or something like that. So why is this jumping out at me? What's the message for you? What's the message with the wand that the hermit is holding? So in this card, this message for you, this hermit has a lot of magic in him, but he either doesn't realize it or he doesn't like play it. Like he doesn't utilize it. Cause it's almost like they're showing his staff as like a magic staff or a magic wand. I'm getting this message like you have all the magic you need, and to not see yourself as less magical than other people or not good enough. It's like the only reason you think you're not good enough is because you keep your magic hidden, or you keep your cards close to your chest, but it's like you forget you have your cards almost because you keep them close to you. This is a weird story. I don't know if this is for all of you. But it's kind of time to unveil your magic and, again, stop being the hermit and be interdependent. Is there one more message with this? I feel like I already said it, but time to reintegrate into society is what they're saying again. They're also showing a rainbow with the word hope over the hermit card. I feel like he's been through the worst. And a lot of you have to. Some of you still have some things to heal from or go through, I know, but for a lot of you, there's a lot of hope on the horizon as you, whatever reintegrate into society means for you, literally or metaphorically, reintegrate into society. The star coming out here. Oh, the star does mean hope. Funny enough. So we have that popping out next. Optimism and foresight. The star can also symbolize healing. I know we've talked about healing, but another message for you guys in some area or in some ways, like you've healed enough, and to not keep going through healing crises you don't need to go through. I feel like at a certain point, it just becomes a habit and a pattern you're running more so than a help. And it's like a detriment. That's not all of you. And that's not for every single thing in your life, by the way, but that's just something they're talking about here. The other thing that this looks like is this, like those action bubbles in comics. This is jumping out to me intuitively as like an action bubble. And they gave me the word action as I was looking at it as well. And I think sometimes when I start to drop the cards, I'm not nailing the messages. That's my sign that I need to backtrack or kind of sit with it a bit longer. So give me 1 second here. What's the message here with that or anything else here? I feel like action is coming in for you in a good way. That's kind of what this is spelling out. So either forward movement or action of some type that you've been hoping for. But the main message is hope is coming in and you're going to be feeling a lot better, which is good. I also feel like this means the universe is going to be helping you out more. Whereas before, maybe it's been sitting in the background and helping you out behind the scenes. I feel like it's going to be more blatant and all the time and not just some of the time. I'm going to close the reading there. My sign fell. I don't know. How does it get better than that? So anything else before we part ways on the water signs reading here? They're showing me this old creaky ship, wooden ship. It's a little bit dilapidated. It needs to be repaired. And they love ship analogies in readings, and especially for the water signs. It's like their favorite pun. They're telling me to shut up. So sorry, guys. Okay, but the message here is I feel like you have everything you need to repair the ship, whether the ship represents a business or a business opportunity or a relationship or something in your life that needs to be repaired. You have everything you need. You just need to start. So I would get to work on repairing something that you're ready to repair in life or you're ready to heal. Oh my gosh. I feel like, is there a better way to say this? I just feel like it's time to repair something and you'll be led through that. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Okay, we're ending the reading. So I hope that was helpful and did whatever was for that good for it to do for you. I feel like there was more with that star card, by the way. So anything you guys want to say? They're showing me a shooting star, make a wish. You guys might see like shooting stars as like a sign. And whenever you do, whether it's on social media or it's a picture or it's a GIF or a GIF or whatever you want to say, or it's in real life, I would sit down and manifest sometime soon after that, or that day is something I'm getting. Okay, hope that was helpful. Did whatever is for that's good for it to do for you. And we'll leave the reading there because I am like hitting my wall or whatever. It's not a wall. It's like, I don't know if you can feel it, but it's like either this buildup of energy or it just feels like I'm hitting this like zone out space. I don't know how to say it, but I'm hitting that thing that I usually hit around the water signs reading. So amazing. Thank you. You're welcome. We're going to do a full channel mode message. Something that's jumping out to me is an owl, like an owl spirit animal, along with this channeled message. As far as the theme, it's about sight. So this might have to do with intuition or seeing clearly or unveiling truth. I feel like energetically it's going to be working with your eyes, because when you do a full channel mode message, there's the words that come through in the message, and there's also the energetic transmission from true highest and most infinite source that does whatever works for the highest good, like energy work or things like that. There can also be other things that happen. You might get clear cognizant knowings about the messages or other things in your life, or it can ramp up, intuition, it can do whatever is for the highest good for it to do. And we don't need to limit it in any negative capacity, but so it is what it is. But if you need a name for my spirit guides, the name they gave me a few years ago, after they told me like, we don't have names, that, I'm like, yeah, I know. But then they gave me the name, the Angelic Collective of Zorbital, if you want a name for them. And I like to simplify it and say I channel my spirit guides, the angels and source. So for the highest good, this is about sight and whatever else they want to bring through. I'm going to step out of the way, see what my spirit guides, the angels and true highest and most infinite source would like to say for you today. So give me like a minute here and I'll probably start coughing and then they'll laugh through me and then the channel will start. this much coughing, so give me 1 second. Ooh. I'm so sorry. Snot just blew out my nose. I'm going to take a break and blow my nose and come back because I need a second. So I'll be right back, guys. Excuse me. So, first time for everything. So, okay, they say sit with it for just a second longer, then they'll channel through. So let's get back to this. So, fully for that is good. What would be highest supposed to come through for you? Welcome to this channel, and excuse the time it took to get in. There's a lot clearing out of the way for both you and Brandon right now. And we wish to talk about clear sight, for that is becoming a more common occurrence in the collective, is truth being unveiled, people's eyes opening, both metaphorically and literally and energetically, because it is time to see clearly in this collective for you, in your world. And of course, we are healing the eyes with this message as we delivered earlier. So what do you need to see? What blocks to your sight need to lift? Where have you been blighted in your life, and how can you heal that? And yes, just encountering this message will shift some of that, or potentially a lot of it, depending on where you are. But this is meant to kickstart you removing the blocks to your vision. Both your vision regarding your creation abilities on Earth, envisioning the future, your vision and seeing things around you clearly. And you are meant to see clearly, by the way. It is a lie that you are meant to be in the dark, that everything is meant to be unknown. And there can be a bit of wisdom, or a lot, in the acknowledgement or the phrase, I don't know. Brandon hates this phrase. He wants to create knowing. He wants to see clearly all of the time. All of you do, and we don't blame him. Sometimes he needs to relax and let us deliver the messages in divine timing instead of forcing it. Because you will all know in the right time, each and every one of you. You will see clearly in the right time. And you would do well to stop worrying when you do not see clearly, when you feel in the dark. Sometimes there is a reason. But there is wisdom in acknowledging in a certain moment that you do not quite realize what your knowing is telling you, that you are not as connected to your knowing as you would like to be. It is good not to force the knowing when you do not feel like you have it. But how can you be in knowing all of the time, or connected to it? How can you undo the story that you cannot know? For a lot of this you can manifest. You can manifest yourself seeing clearly more or all of the time when it's for the highest good. And you cannot fight Source on this. If Source's will is, no, if you see this curveball coming, you will go in a way that is not for your highest good. So we will keep you in the dark on this little detail so that you move in the right directions, or to protect you or to protect someone else. So the only reason you're in the dark is when you are meant to be in the dark, but that is changing. The collective is meant to see. You are meant to see. So how can you undo the stories you cannot see? And that question is more to manifest the answer showing up for you. You may get intuitive information on how to heal that and bring in more knowing, but really it is meant to manifest it for you. You manifesting, you seeing clearly. There's a lot coming in that if your intuition is on, will be a lot easier to navigate. And you are being given this message not as a warning and not as something that you need to fear, but as a heads up to start working on this now, to start unveiling this now, to start dropping the things that are telling you you cannot know, whether it's people, places, or things. And who can you surround yourself with that does know? Who is accurate for you intuitively? Who would show you the way to your own knowing? Whether it's a teacher, a class, a course, how can you unveil your own intuition? This will save the day for you going forward. We also wish to talk about this topic of extraterrestrials, ETs, angels, spirit guides, all these different beings. You need to work with the beings that resonate for you, regardless of what anyone else says. So long as it is highest and best aligned, of source, for the highest good. It does not matter if you work with spirit guides or angels or fairies, dragons, aliens. As long as that resonates for you, that is perfect. So many get wrapped up on the being. Oh, it's not an ET, I don't trust it. Oh, it's not an angel, it's bad. And some of you, not all of you, some of you are afraid of angels. You're afraid of the stories you've heard from others about angels. There's no need to fear, so long as you are connected with Source, and your intention is to work with the true highest lights, and your vibration is in a place you can match with that. And we do not want you to freak out with that message either. Most of you, your vibration is at a baseline where you can connect with that easily, or you do not need to worry. And even if you go through some type of downward turn emotionally, it does not mean your vibration drops so far that you will be swamped by dark things or connected to anything negative. That's not how it works. So many will sell you a story. You need to be high vibe and highest and best emotions at all times. And yes, that's important. But vibration is not necessarily emotion. There's more that goes into a being's energetics than just emotions and feelings and thoughts and words. You have energy flowing through you from Source. You have a soul. You have an energetic makeup from Source. And sometimes lower emotions are something you go through to release. It does not mean you are low vibration. It just means you are going through something. So do not beat up on yourself or think fear-based thoughts or have fear-based emotions regarding being in a lower place temporarily. Source will lift you out of it at the right time. And if you're connected, the universe will lift you out of it. Why are we talking about this? Because you need not fear the beings you are working with. You need not fear the beings you are asking for help from, any of you. And some of you don't need that message. Some of you... Excuse us. This throat is parched. As we were saying, some of you do not need that message. You are working with the right beings for you and you know it. But you need to stop fearing the etheric. In some ways, you need to stop fearing the unknown. And why are we talking about all this? Because it has to do with your vision and seeing clearly etherically, working with your spiritual team, with angels, ETs, what have you, Source directly, it does not matter. We just wish you to let go of the fear around these things so you do not fear your power, your power to connect with Source and change things, your power to connect with your spirit team, Because there is power for the highest good in clear sight. There's power in seeing things clearly with what you can change, with what you can do. And that is why this message is about your eyes. And about letting go of the fears that are in the way of you seeing clearly. And sometimes fear is the only illusion you need to overcome. The only illusion you need to let go of and release. To see everything perfectly. Because what clouds you more than fear, if anything? That might be the only thing that has people panicking and unable to connect. But we will say you can be connected and experiencing fear or another emotion or picking up on it from another. You are not limited. But the point is you do not need to fear. So why are we rambling on about fear, spirit guides, things like that? Because your power lies in connection. Your power lies in seeing through the fear. Your power lies in not being afraid of spirits. And all the fear-based beliefs that are flying around about that. See through it. It's time. See through it. It's time. So many would have you out of your power through fear. And they might not even realize they are doing it. They might be throwing fear around because they believe that will be what keeps them and those around them safe. That's how they learn to survive. But it is not the way. And no longer will that work. Yes, you will still be safe. Many of you. But it will not work to keep you safe as much as you think. That fear-based living. So you might as well step out of it. Let go of it. See when people are operating from it and not listen to them. You deserve to see clearly. You deserve to see past the fear. And while there may be certain things that occur in world events or in the world that make it seem like you need to be afraid, make it seem like you need to be afraid to survive, make it seem like you need to be afraid to keep living, that is a lie. There is no doom and gloom. Doom and gloom is a fear-based narrative that keeps you out of your power, and it keeps you from creating. We are borrowing a bit from others Brandon has heard talk about this, but it is true nonetheless. You do not need doom and gloom. It is a false narrative that would also keep you from seeing clearly. Because when you are in doom and gloom, you stop trying. You stop working. The light fades from your eyes. There's a hopelessness. The opposite of the star card, you could say. The opposite of the light at the end of the tunnel, but a darkness at the end of it. When you see there is possibility, you open up to it. You move towards it. It is like a breath of fresh air. It's like letting the light in through the curtains. There is hope. There is optimism. So where can you see possibility where others sell you doom and gloom? Or where is the truth of possibility that was previously hidden from you? That if you saw it, would move you forward like never before, would heal you like never before, would get you out of the old stories like never before. And possibility is where it's at. It's where the light is. It's what the light brings. Doom and gloom is restriction, hopelessness, despair. It is a lower vibration. So stay out of it if you can. And it is okay if you find yourself there for a day or an hour, or something triggers you. We are not saying you are wrong for that. It's how you are taught to handle things. It's how you've evolved to handle things. But what if there's a different way? What if you can see through it? And what if you can create your reality in a way that doom and gloom never exists? So with that, we leave you. Your eyes are beginning to clear. You will have clear vision following this message. Perhaps more third eye wise. And keep your third eye clear. Clear. Following this message to see clearly. Light some sage, some incense. Use some third eye crystals. But keep it open and clear. And you will begin to see everything in your life much more clearly. And you are meant to, by the way. You are meant to. We leave you there. We wish you the highest and best for each of you. Please excuse the choking and coughing. We did the best we could. We are wishing you the absolute best for you. Sayonara for now. Signing out. Farewell. Excuse me. Holy heck. I hope that was good and did whatever is for the highest good for it to do for you. Ooh. Oh my goodness. I'm not sure what's going on with my throat and my sniffles here. Yeah, I just ran out of water. Maybe I'll just have a separate channeling water, and before I channel, I'll drink the whole water or something. You are so welcome. You're so welcome, guys. Ugh. Hot tea and honey. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Ooh, excuse me. I enjoyed your message. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome, J-Baby. J-Baby? Thank you. You're welcome, Rob Dog. You're welcome, CG Concepts. Thank you. How are you feeling? I'm feeling all right. I think I need water. I was coughing too, kind of stuffy. Sorry. No worries. Hope your throat feels better. Hope you're not catching a cold. Me too. Thank you so much, Kishe. Very powerful. Appreciate you. You're welcome. As long as the energetics were there and the potency was there, even though the coughing was there. Hope that was good. Awesome. You're welcome. Thanks so much. Awesome messages across the board today. You're welcome. So glad to hear it. It's funny you mentioned owl. I've been seeing those a lot lately. Yeah, and I have it on this mug here too. This isn't my mug per se, but there's an owl on it. So I needed the message about believing in angels, etc. Thank you. You're so welcome. Okay. I am going to probably close the live here. Oh my God, I think I need to go lay down or something. But before I do, I think I do have some slots for one-on-one readings open. I need to open more days and stuff. I need to look at my schedule and open up more days for everything, classes and everything. I do have a monthly membership if you're interested. Anyone, I just do like that full channel mode message without the coughing. I have long ones, like 30 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour plus, that I post every month there. And there's weekly channeled picker readings that are timeless and other things. So if you're interested, you can go to my website and check it out. Other than that, I guess the only other thing I have, I guess there's a lot of things I have to promote that I always forget about, but there's a channel newsletter I do if you're interested, for my mailing list. That's channel messages on each month. So if you like this and you didn't see the one for December, if you're not already a part of it, there's more channel messages on this month through that newsletter, and you get access to that when you sign up. So you're welcome to sign up for that if you want more channel messages. Heck yeah, highly recommend the membership. Thank you so much, Andy Pandy Pie. I appreciate it. Promote your book too. I do have a book, Spirit Guides, Angels, and Speaking with Source. It's a channeled book on getting in touch with your angels and with Source and channeling. And it kind of delves into some other topics too. And it's it's also like an energy tool, I suppose you could say. Like a lot of it's about the energies and the channeled transmission in the book. I feel like there are good messages in there too, but there is that too if you're interested, and all that's in the link tree and stuff. So that's it. Maybe I'll hang out and talk for a second, and you guys are so welcome. I probably need to you have a scheduled reading with me tomorrow. Talk to you then. Sounds good. Ooh, you're welcome. Okay, I think I need to close the live. But I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate getting to do this. You guys rock. And I suppose I almost want to say, I know there's a lot that makes this possible, but if you guys weren't here, what would I be doing this for? So did you move far? I did not move very far. I just moved a couple hours when I moved. I hope you have a beautiful day too. Thank you, NGZ. You have a beautiful rest of your day. I hope you guys have a great week. I will see you next week. You guys rock. I love you guys. Sending blessings and love and peace and abundance. And I will talk to you next week if I don't see you sooner than that on a reading or a post or whatever. Okay, take care.